Just literally now. Good evening, everyone. How are we doing? We have a different live stream today. Of course, it's a Friday too. I hope everybody's well this evening, but we have a lot to discuss too in terms of the rules of the channel. To change the rules of the channel in a lot of cases, and probably to update it because a lot of it is old and from 2020, and a lot of it was very vague in the language it was used, etc. Of course, we're joined by a guest today, one of the moderators, the Eurovogue guy, we call him. But Moonhunters too, we call him. But how are we doing, Moonhunters? I hope we're well. Thank you for joining us this evening.
How's she cutting?
I think she's cutting fine. Well, apart from all this that has to be done today. But I hope all is well. But we chat for a few minutes and then we get into it because there's a lot to go through. Now, it's a long time since we changed the rules. It's 2020. As I say, a lot of it is very vague. What we're worried about today, because there's 8 parts of it, we worry about part 1 today, and that's to do with the we have to define different things, and it's going to be a lot of hassle to do, but we have to kind of work on that. But there's a lot of other stuff we have to go through the next few days, but it's to do, we'll just chat for a few minutes, as I say. Hello, Fiona, good evening. But particularly what we're on about today, just when I'm here, we'll just chat for a few minutes among ourselves and then we get started. It's to do with part 1, and that's to do with the freedom of speech, etc. What is over freedom of speech? What is abuse? What is different things? Because from 2020, from the time in 2020, a lot of people were, and I suppose when this was made, this constitution was made, this was back in 2020 when people were getting cancel culture, etc. So that is the change, and what we have to change it because a lot of things have changed since 2020. And a lot of people have asked for changes, etc. It's one of the moderates. Hello, Brian. Hello, Sean. Sorry. Sean, what do you call this? What is that? Why did you get this? We'll talk about that later on because we're a bit busy here. But what I'm trying to say is that we'll go through it in more detail in a few minutes. But we do have Moonhunters here, one of the moderators. And we have other moderators here today. But there's a lot of stuff to go through, as I say. But I think the main goal should be... we shouldn't try and suppress people. We have to try and find a walking way because I do think it's important. Of course, people who have to say in the channel what exactly the what in it, etc. Because we designed this back in 2020, as I say, but it's different than I suppose a lot of other channels because it's supposed it's consent of the people who watch the channels, and I suppose it's taken what we designed it in 2020. I suppose was that. We wouldn't have all the power, basically, to just set with people, etc. That the community would decide what is necessary and what is against the rules, etc., etc. So yeah, but we have to vote on it all. People can propose amendments, and it's going to be a lot of hassle. But we try and get through part 1. It will take a long time to go through because it has to be defined. Because the problem we have here, and I read it out to you, like part 1 here, and this is the amendment to it, but. To uphold the freedom of speech and not to silence people's opinions, only ban people if absolutely necessary. The same goes for time out. And to respect people's views and not to silence anybody. So we have the problem there because there's no, other kind of thing. Does anybody get my view? That's what we're saying to people through the night. It was only saying about only if absolutely necessary. But what is absolutely necessary? You get what I'm saying. What is absolutely necessary? Because you have to remember, only one person's been banned in the last 4 years, and I think only was it 3 or 4 timeouts in the last few years. Does anybody know? Does the moderators know?
Say again?
How many timeouts was in the last few years? It was only about 4 or 5, and I think it was all Martin Tutors. There was one way back years ago. But the one ban, just to say, I don't know, Davey probably would know, but the one ban that was this year, it was to do with, of course, the other thing is number 4, part 4, that's for a different day. But part 4 was the only thing that really could ban anybody from. And it was to do with your abusive behavior, threatening to kill somebody, etc. And really inappropriate language. That was the only thing. But and that was the only thing that we had, like, to ban people. We couldn't ban people, say, for example, on different things. But as I say, it's a lot of stuff. So, hello everyone. Sorry, no, it's a lot of but we get started in a few minutes. We'll just chat among ourselves. But I suppose we have to discuss this, and I think it's important too that the community have a say in this too, because the main whole idea when this was started in 2020, that we wouldn't say the moderators and me, we wouldn't censor people unless absolutely necessary, and I think we've done well for the last few years, because we did very little to silence people, to do anything to stop people from speaking openly. But unfortunately, it has been abused, and I will admit that it has, and I think the moderators do would agree that it has been abused over the last few months. I'm sure you would agree, Moonhut does too, and Davey and all those. Go ahead, you say.
Definitely so.
Definitely so. Yeah, I couldn't hear you in Wonderland there. I never seen any. Like Moonhut, you often see him here. The moderators usually never win. Like we usually never have problems for the moderators, but we do have a new moderator. We have Alex too. That's in now, and he will be in now and again. So we have 4 moderators now. The moderators, but as I say, I understand so many people. I do apologize. We probably should have done this sooner. Named the mods. Yeah, Moonhut. You often seen here, Davey and Alex too. Yeah, that was back a long time ago. That's not in recent history. But the only way, and as I said to you before, Sean, as I say, is in number 4. Like number 4 is threatening to kill people. That's the only rule that we have that we can ban somebody for, is threatening violence against somebody. Say, for example, somebody was threatening, you were threatening. Like there was somebody the other day, a few months ago, actually about 2 months ago, yeah. He was leaking somebody's address and threatening to kill people. He threatened to kill 3 or 4 people. He threatened to kill me, but I didn't care about myself. But it was more that he threatened to kill other people, which I didn't. It wasn't acceptable. And he leaked somebody's address too, which we had to take action against. That we couldn't really allow it to be allowed to happen, and that was a different situation. Well, you shouldn't probably admit it, but we didn't see that. But but there was been a lot of stuff, particularly towards the women. I do apologize to Fiona and Saoirse, etc. There was a few things that I didn't see that my moderators seen that was said to them that was extremely inappropriate in some cases, that was really said to them. And only for the moderator showed me. And it was shown to me by a few people, because I don't be looking at all the comments all the time. So they showed it to me, and I do think it's unacceptable to what was said. But there was nothing ever in the rules about, if something said to, say, for example, to a woman, etc., overly sexualized or something like that we could ban somebody for that. You get what I'm saying? That was the problem in the whole thing, that it was only threatening abusive language. Getting stream yards. No, I don't think there's necessarily to get stream yards. But yeah, but as I say, it does need to be updated. It really, really does need to be updated. And sadly, it does. And again, I suppose this is the first test of the rules, for a long, long time. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But we have to understand, I suppose we have to talk about what is disruptive behavior. We have to define it. What exactly can somebody be banned for? What exactly can we do if somebody's been disruptive? And what is disruptive? We have to define it, if that makes any sense. Because, because we, as I said in the beginning, again, this constitution, not the whole lot of it, this is only some of it, but that particularly number 1, and this was literally the first thing, that we have to allow freedom of expression. We have to allow people to discuss things. And number 5 is pretty much the same, that we have to abide by the Constitution of the Irish Republic. And what the Irish Constitution says, that people have the right to speak, and nobody has the right to stop you from speaking. And I suppose we have to look at that a different day, number 5. But for the moment, it's number 1 we're looking at. But no, that's what I'm saying. But we need to, we need to kind of talk about bans and stuff, how we conduct ourselves, etc. That's the whole thing, because we need to get the consent of people here before we can do anything. Yeah, but see, this is the thing, we had no power. Like the moderators and me had no power to do anything, because we voted on this back in 2020. I don't know if people remember. Sean was probably here at the time. But back in 2020, everybody wanted, the first thing, that people's freedom of speech, etc., would be protected. Because at that time was COVID and stuff, and people were being censored for their views and COVID and for other things. And I suppose the context, that was what it was. And the whole idea of the Constitution and stuff, why we established it and stuff, was to protect people from people's speeches, etc., that we wouldn't control what people were saying, etc. Because a lot of channels do that, like to control what people are saying and stuff. And I do think, in fairness, and a lot of people did say to me that a lot of people were able to speak freely for a long, long time. That even though we're not going to silence people, we're not going to be sitting and monitoring everything. But it's the fact of the matter has been abused, and unfortunately, that has been the case. Yeah, so I suppose we start anyway. So, Moonhut, does he have anything to say at the moment, or anything to add to that? I suppose. I know I've been doing the outer yap.
I think if there's anyone annoying you, just ignore them. Really, don't even bat an eye at them. Honestly,
But this is
I
the
wouldn't
thing.
even reply to them either.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying about me specifically, but for other people, other members of the community. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people would have wouldn't happy, I suppose, that there were kind of wage baiting going on. Do you know that? Do you know what that means?
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's trying to sort a reaction out of people, and particularly,
right.
yeah. So that's you can hear the moderator capture. I don't. It's hard to kind of have it there, but we start in it. But I suppose when it comes to the force part, this is just ask people what exactly. And I suppose this is the question we will vote on in a second. So I do think we should keep a lot of it in terms of we only said to people unless absolutely necessary and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. See, the thing I was always trying to engage with people. That's the whole point. We were trying to engage with people. They're trying to talk people to to be behave, etc. We never wanted to enforce. We don't want to enforce. Like the moderators and me, we don't want to silence people. We don't want to have to do these things, unfortunately. But it's just a simple thing. We don't want to censor people. We simply don't want to keep people quiet, etc. It was never our goal, but but it has been abused, and I think everybody would agree, and I think everybody agrees with that at this stage. But this is to do with, so what exactly would you want to see in the Constitution? Because we have to rewrite the whole lot of it, basically, from scratch. When it comes to freedom of speech, particularly. What is the limit? I suppose that's the first question. What is the limit when it comes to freedom of speech? When do you say stop? I know you said earlier on about a 3-strike rule. What would people like to see something like that, a 3-strike rule? What does people think about a 3 strike? So basically 3 strikes, you're out. What does people think of that? Just to propose that first. Something like that, just to say, because again, we need to vote on it. We'll vote on it in a second. Because we can add a 3-strike rule, well, it's not even that. Oftentimes I was, very fair with other people. Oftentimes people said outrageous stuff to me and to other people. And I often was very fair with them. Always, even the person that was threatening me a few months, like 2 months ago, with other people, I was saying to him, calm down. There's no need to go around threatening people. Like he was threatening to kill them and burn their houses and stuff. Like he was going mad. All over something that, I don't know what his problem was, but we were trying to talk to him, saying, look, whatever the problem is, don't be so mad with people, because these people said nothing to him and he just lit on them. He just came in here and we had to ban him for that reason. And then he leaked somebody's IP, not my IP, but another person's IP, and we couldn't have it. We simply couldn't tolerate that. But yeah, after that, it would be an automatic ban. Do we think that's fair? So, so yeah. So the first thing I suppose is to do it. So we have to change the bit and bans only necessary, if only absolutely necessary. I don't know how but the first thing is 3-strike. Do you think that's fair, Moonhunters?
I think to a certain point, 3 strikes is fair. But when you start taking it to a personal level, like leaking someone's IPs.
Oh yeah, but like that's just that'll be just an outright ban. Yeah, that's always going to be probably just now, because that is defined by what we have at the moment, like threatening abusive behavior, because that's basically threatening somebody, But yeah, so this is the vote at the moment, the first vote. This is to do with adding in at the moment to do with the 3-strike rule. So basically, we give people 3 strikes, and if not, they're out. So it's up to people. So it's in Irish. Tá is yes, and Neil is no. Hello, Sean Mack. Hello, Golden. Sorry, I meant to say hello to everybody. There's a lot of stuff to go through. But this is to do with the 3-strike rule. So I think that's fair too for the first bit of it. That we give you 3 options. We basically give you 3 chances. But I just say to everybody to vote on it, and if anybody wants to add anything into it. But I think that's a very reasonable thing to add in 3 strikes, that we give you 3 chances to behave and stuff. And we will engage with, of course, we will ask you to please, behave, and of course, because we don't want to do this. That's the simple thing. We don't want to argue with people. We don't want to we want to have civil debate, of course, with people. That was the whole point of this channel, to have civil debate and stuff. But unfortunately, that's been bullied a lot, unfortunately. But we give it another few minutes. But as I say, we can add that in, and then the next parts need to be talked about, etc. Because there has to be all defined. The problem was that it was never defined. It was kind of put on paper, but we never went into the steps. What defines, somebody should be banned, because that's the problem we've been having for years, but only now it's been tested. Yeah, we can talk about that now in a second, but I suppose we need proof. We can't just go and say this person's, been banned, because we need kind of proof. We can't be just banning people, because then we could claim everybody is voting the ban and just silence everybody, Yeah, we can add that now in a second too. But as I say, there's a lot of ideas. But the first thing, I don't know if Davey, if you're, we give it another minute for the vote. So we do vote, as I said to people, because everything here will be voted on. But we can add that in straight into the next part, the appeals, that it can be appealed if necessary and stuff. We can add that in. But I take it as the 3-strike rule is passed, so it's passed. So we happy enough, our moderators? Is all the moderators happy? If Trev votes, Neil none votes, that part is passed. So you can add that in, Davey, to the manifesto, not the manifesto, but you know what I'm saying. To the 3 rules. And the next thing, just as Cedric was saying, I think it's appropriate too, that somebody's allowed to appeal it once. And the same goes for a ban and stuff. People can appeal it. But they have to write a written explanation on the behaviour. Well, not the behaviour, why they were banned, etc. And we take it into account. I think the moderator should have a vote too on that. Would you not agree, Moonhut, that if, say, for example, there's appeals, somebody's banned after 3 offences, for example, that the moderators would have the chat. I would vote, and the moderators would vote, and we would basically decide. What do we take?
Yeah, no, I do. I do think that would be all right, but yeah, I want one.
Yeah, so the moderator. So yeah, we're talking that now. So this is to do with appeals of the ban, like if somebody was banned, to do with this 3-strike rule. So this is an amendment to the 3-strike rule. We're just kind of voting on different bits of it. So it's a 3-strike rule. The banter has to be protected too, of course. Like we know when people are joking and stuff. But yeah, we might add in that nobody can criticize Santa Mound. We might do that. So don't give me that up. But I think the moderators will agree with that. But what was in appeals? So this is to do with how do you spell appeals? And I can't spell. I tell you, I'm disgraceful.
Which word?
Appeals, like a appeal or something.
It's APP.
APP, yes. Oh, I have it, sorry. Thanks, Gordon. Thanks, Fiona. Appeals of bans and the 3-strike, yes.
I'm just going to quickly check on my mother and see if she's all right there.
Yeah, no bother. Yeah, we'll find for the moment. So, and just add into that part too, just the mods and me. That the mods will have, the 3-strike rule, but just add into that, that the mods and me will have a vote. Basically, if somebody did get banned after 3 strikes, that somebody can appeal that basically one time, and the mods and me could vote on it, and we would have an argument, not one argument, but we would talk about it and we would have a vote on it to see, the community. We could add this into that the community can vote on it, but I still. But this is the thing too, but the community, as I was saying to the moderators earlier on, that we couldn't really have that, because say, for example, if somebody just didn't get on with somebody and they just wanted to ban the person, there could be, that, and it'd be hard to do that, I suppose, because everybody probably would be banned. Say if somebody didn't like what somebody said, and it'd be hard thing. But this is to do with nitrifod. Oh no, but so this is to do with appeals of the 3-strike rule. But yeah, this is only kind of walking into this. So this is basically to do with how people will be banned and stuff, if necessary. Of course, this is only if absolutely necessary. So this is appeals of bans after the 3 strikes. So I would say to people to vote on that if you could too. So what that means, just if anybody wants the definition of what I mean by that is, we're having votes and stuff, but it's to do basically if, say, for example, the 3 strikes happened, right? That somebody could appeal it after. And now it can be discussed with the mods, etc. Because, and I think it would be fair because the mods would decide, is it fair, is it not? And because there's 4 of us, so it would have to be whatever way. It couldn't be tied, basically. You get what I'm saying? So it would have to go one or the other way. But I do think it's fair that somebody can appeal it if we have been unfair, etc. I do think that's fair, because if we just had an outright thing where we can just shut you up unless we felt like it, I do think it would be fair that somebody has the option to appeal at least once, and then we can look at it. And then we can even discuss it with the community if people wanted to. But see, this is the whole thing. We have to have it down on paper, what we can do, what exactly we can do. Because back about a year ago, we unbanned, like, this is from years ago, we unbanned a lot of people, like, say, for example, other people that were banned. This is way back, a long time ago. This is many moons ago at this stage. So, yeah. So I take that as passed. So that is passed. So there will be appeals if anybody is banned, etc. There will be appeals after the 3-strike rule. So the next thing is to do with only if absolutely necessary. And the same with timeouts on YouTube. So we'll define what is absolutely necessary. Just to say to people, what does people think when I say absolutely necessary? Because that's what it says at the moment. We have to kind of rewrite that in terms of how do we define that in terms of what exactly needs to be done. So take, for example, right underneath this here, what would be absolutely necessary? What would you deem as absolutely necessary? Like it's above and beyond what is acceptable in society, I suppose, on the street, etc. What do you take in terms of freedom of speech? We want to try and protect, of course, but especially when it's like, what would you say? I suppose, what does the community say? Because again, it's your choice, the community's choice. It's not so much me or the moderators. It's up to people here. What do they take is absolutely necessary? Because again, that's the whole reason why we're here, is to let the community decide what is necessary and what is not necessary. Leitrim, yeah, we're going to ban everybody from Leitrim. That's just an outright ban. So, but yeah, is everything fucked? Everything could be fucked with the polls and stuff. But yeah, so the other problem we have, just to say, is my check on notes there. Yeah, like that's already there. Yeah, like the debt threat bit's already there in part 5. We look at that a different day, update that, particularly when it comes to harmful stuff. But yeah, we have doxing. Yeah, there is a spam bit, but it's not to do with number 1. It's more to do with number 5, but that's to do with bot accounts, etc. Ban innovations too. We have to talk about that, but we can look at that some other time. So yeah, it was about passing away, because one of the moderators did say to me about that, but somebody that passed away and so, like say for example, a rape victim, etc. What do we take? Would we be like, what do you think is the necessary? What do you think is that, like, when it pushes the limits of free speech? Or what do you think should be the punishment? Do you think your comment should be removed? Because it probably would be a bit much, like, to ban somebody, say, for example, that's making an edgy comment about somebody. Like, what do we take? What do you take? Because we have to define what is absolutely necessary, and that's the problem we have. The GA. Just define the GA. But yeah, so let me just see. What are you here, Moonhoppers? No.
I am back, sorry.
Yeah. So what do you take, just what Gordon said there, to do with people passing away and stuff, and particularly when it comes to, say, rape victims, etc., crimes against children, etc. Do you think that should be, like, say, even though somebody could say that's edgy, like somebody being edgy, making a remark, etc. What do you think when it comes to, say, a case, say, for example, a rape victim or a child, say, for example, being abused? What do you think? What do you think they should be banned? I don't know. What's up to the community, but I suppose only removing the comments would be appropriate. Say, for example, for that. Whatever about death throats and stuff, that should be automatic, yeah. Yeah, go on.
If someone's talking about it,
well, no, what Gordon was saying there, and I suppose proposing there, say, for example, if it's say, for example, a case that we talk about in the community post that's to do with a child that was raped, etc., and somebody's making little of it, and things like that, what would you take? It depends on the context, so yeah, of course. But I suppose what Gordon's saying is somebody joking or making light of it or something like that. What do we take? What do you take, Simon Hunt? Sorry, I'm cutting across.
Yeah. If they're making jokes of a serious situation, I wouldn't want to see them as anything else.
So you suggest that we probably would remove them people? Like, say, for example, if somebody's making fun of a child being raped by their father, I know it's an awful thing to say, but just take for example that.
Yeah.
Would you say that should be removed, or would you say, because I don't know about an outright ban, because some people could say that's just being edgy, and it goes back to the 3 strike rule, but it has been said a few times about that, particularly when it came to incidents of them kind of things, serious things like that there was light made out of a few incidents, that there was kind of jokes being made out of it, and a lot of people did say that to me. I don't know about an outright ban, depending on exactly what it is, but I don't know about removing, but would you be in favour of that, Manhunters?
I'd definitely be in favour of just taking the dude out.
Taking the dude out? What? We're not the Gestapo. No, but what do you mean by taking around? Like, they're just removing the comments. Yeah, if repeated, yeah. So we suggest, I suppose, what we're proposing for the people of the channel here to do would say, what would we call it? I don't know what we would call it. Woman to strike, yes, of course. But I'm saying, should the comment stay up? That's I suppose what we're asking. Should the comment stay up, or should the comment be taken down? That's what I'm asking, I suppose, here. I know about the 3 strike where we still have that. But I'm saying if there was 3 times he done it, take for example, so somebody done it, take for example. Say, for example, there was a post now in the morning about a child being abused by their father. And somebody commented on that. And then the next day there was a woman that was assaulted. And then he commented on that, and somebody else commented on the other thing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what?
I do think it should be in favor of that comment.
Yeah. So should sorry, my spelling is probably atrocious. Are we okay, Davey, with that? Just to let Davey know, is Davey okay? Because we might be going too fast for him. Yeah, it's sick comments. Yeah, I understand that. To it, criminal cases. What would we call it? How do we define this? How would we define this?
Mentally insane.
Oh, the moderator. Not really mentally insane. I wouldn't say that. What would we call it? Like making fun of criminal case. Criminal. What would you say? I don't know how to define it. See, this is the problem. We have to try and define it because it has to be voted on. We should be removed if they're making fun of serious cases. Serious cases. And if so, be removed. Would we add wage baiting into that? Would you say that wage baiting somebody? But I suppose then it goes back to the 3 strike rule. Would you say wage baiting, or even the model Davey? Would you say the wage baiting should be added in to that? Do you think so, Moonhunters? Do you know what wage baiting is? Yeah.
I think that situation goes perfectly what Greenfest said there. Be excessively distasteful.
But we have to define that too, I suppose. Yeah. Hello, Aoife. Sorry. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Like the light is what I think that is.
Yeah. Hello, sorry, Aoife. Yeah, we're going on about the channel rules. We're updating the channel rules and stuff. So basically, there has to be a whole hullabaloo about it in terms of votes, etc. So this is to do with should comments be removed and making fun of serious incidents of wage baiting. So this adds to the 3 strike rule. Too long. 3 strike. So yeah, there you go. That's the next vote. This is to do with number. This is to add on to do with like topics, as I said, about rape and stuff. So tall is yes and Neil is no. Again, it's up to people, whatever they take. It's the people's vote. It's up to them, people to decide. But this is to do with wage baiting and stuff. But we have to define wage baiting too. What is wage baiting? To add into it, if it is passed. So I suppose if this is passed, what is wage baiting? And I suppose what would you deem as inappropriate for the definition of this for comments? I know I'm not replying to every comment. That's because we just go through it all. It's a lot. Yes, we hear that. Like I have other mods here at the moment. They're just writing it up. Like they have to write up a document, but the mods are always approachable. Like the mods are always approachable. If you ever have a problem and stuff, they're not they would talk to you, etc. But I will listen to you, of course, too. But so yeah, just to say to people, if you're here, just make sure to vote. Because again, if you have any suggestions and stuff, we'll take it. We're not going to shut you down. We'll listen to what you say, etc. But that's to say, but what is wage bait? We have to define it. We get some saying, there's always saying, but how do we say, for example, tomorrow morning, right? We wake up, me and Moon Hunters wake up tomorrow morning, Saturday, and we come across somebody, say, for example, that's trying to wage bait somebody. But then we can argue, then somebody else could argue, no, this is freedom of speech. They're entitled to say this, How do we define it? How can we point to this person? Yeah, this was wage bait. We can't allow that, Helpline, yeah. No, but like they're approachable, etc. But what is everybody? Define everybody too. That's the thing too. This is the problem we have with the old constitution, that there wasn't the definition. There was no definitions given. What exactly was wage bid? What exactly was this? What exactly was that? That was the problem we had for years, that the moderators had no power to do it. I had no power to remove things unless it was totally necessary. This is the problem. But yeah, I suppose that's passed overwhelmingly to do with wage baiting. So Dave, you can add that into the 3 strike rule. But of course, do want to add just to say we did pass that people can appeal it if necessary to do with wage baiting. But I suppose the next question is for the community. We're not voting this part, but it's to do with wage baiting. So what we want is the definition. Instant strike, yeah. Well, we're not really, we don't want it to have that you can't insult me or the moderators, because some people do have genuine, take even just about Sanna Marin, just take for example. Some people do have genuine issue with Sanna Marin, and I understand that, but we don't want to go to a situation where somebody can't criticize her, even though I wouldn't personally want somebody to do that. But still, at the end of the day, that's their right. She's a public figure. They don't have to like her. There's no law making her like her. You get what I'm saying? The Cav and Dev, yes. Pretty much. But you get what I'm saying? So we couldn't really have that, because you could say that, criticizing me or insulting me would be like that, I suppose, in a way. But you get what I'm saying? There's a lot of open questions. That was the problem with the old constitution, that it was very open. It was very open. It could be abused in a million different ways. Because at the time, we kind of just put it on paper and, me up every day with the Sandman thing. But that's freedom of speech, as I say, but, and of course, Sanderman's paying good money for it. Excuse me, sorry, very bad cough. But yeah, so what is the definition? What do you think is the definition of wage baiting? Constantly at people. Is that the way we would describe it? Constantly at people, constantly winding them up. But what is constantly, I suppose? What would you define as constantly? We would define it 3 times, I suppose. And I suppose the moderators would decide too, along with me, what is wage bait, I suppose. Yeah, we have the 3 strike rule, but I suppose we have to define what is constantly, yeah, constantly consistent. Yeah, that's what we're going to define it as, Davey. Constantly consistent. Constantly, if it's constant, it's all the time. And again, that would be out of the 3 strike rule. We give you 3 chances. Repeatedly, yeah, we can add something else. So do add that in, Davey, if you can, please. Yeah, not to me. I don't want that into me. I'm able to take my own insults and stuff. People have insulted me to hell and to back. I don't care. But it's more about other people. I don't know about coming. We can talk about that now in a second, but I don't know would that be included in the first bit. But I don't want to silence people, promoting the channel. I don't think that's fair. Personally, in my view, we could vote in a second about it, but I don't know. Personally, I was never about that. Yeah, but I suppose what is an asshole? I know that sounds like an insane thing to say, But what do you find as an asshole? Because people could say, this person, even though they're being an asshole, they still have the right to speech. This is the problem. We could define it. We could argue about it. The cows come home. Spamming. Yeah, we could add that in. But I suppose wage baiting, consistent. Davey, you can say the consistent actions. And of course, they're given 3 chances. And if they blow it after 3, they will be banned. But of course, they can be banned and stuff. Poor Moon Hunters is not getting a word in here at all. Is there anything you want to add to Moon Hunters? Sorry, because it's hard to just explain to everybody what's happening.
I think you summed it up pretty well there.
Yeah, I think you went on too much. But anyway, but yeah, so we're happy enough with that, with the wage baiting bit. And I suppose insulting comments towards people that say, for example, have passed away and things like that. We're happy with that. So we're happy. Everybody's happy with that definition. So this is now to do with, I suppose, timeouts. And now this is to do with live streams, particularly, not so much comments. So this is to add out to the 3 strike rule. What is the definition of banning somebody on a live stream? It's not banning somebody, but timing out somebody. And what do you think is the most appropriate punishment for that person? I suppose, how long? Do we think it should be an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours? What do we think? What do you think the most appropriate thing is for timeouts? This is specifically to do with live streams, just to say. So what do we think? What's the most appropriate action for the rest of the live stream for a few hours, for a day? What do we think? I know people say it depends on what the person does, etc. But what do we take? But see, this is the thing, Davlos. Even though we're anti-Irish and stuff, they still have the right, even though it sounds insane, they still have the right to say it, because even though I personally wouldn't agree with it, but we still have the right to say it, and that's the problem we have. Because then people would say, you won't want to hear anything that's your other thing or something like that. Well, one of the mods. I don't think so. I know all the mods personally. See, that's why we don't mod people that I don't know, because I know all the mods all my life. Like, I know Moon Hunters a long time. And I know Davey a long time, etc. So, I trust them, and they're good people. And I can tell you that there's no bad people that's mods. And they're fair. Like, they've listened to me, and they've allowed people, to run amok, I suppose, sometimes and stuff. But they've been very fair with people in a lot of cases. In a lot of stuff that was said. But this is to do with timeouts. I suppose we proposed this to do with timeouts. This is specifically to do with live streams. Now, thankfully, there was never really much trouble in the live streams and stuff, as Moon Hunters would say. Would you want to say a bit on that, Moon Hunters?
On which again? Sorry.
On live streams. In other words, there's never been much trouble in live streams.
It's just always like one odd apple every once in a while that cracks up.
Well, Davey's just after proposing there for the first strike 10 minutes, the second strike 30 minutes, the third strike 24 hours. Yes. Sorry, go on, Moonhut. Sorry, just.
It's always the one bad apple that pops up maybe after a year and a half, and then. There's that amnesty period of calm.
Banful. So this is to do with live stream. Now, this is not a yes or no kind of bit. This is kind of like, should it be the rest of the stream? I think that's the best. So this is to do specifically with live streams, just to say. I don't think we can do. How long does any of the moderators know? How long can you put people in timeout for on the live streams? Does anybody know? Davey would know. I don't think you would know, Moon Hunters. Do you know?
Yeah.
24 hours. Do we know, Davey? Do you know? Because Davey would probably know. 24 hours, okay. So the rest of the stream, 24 hours. Oh, an hour, let's put that. So there's 3 options. So this is to do with timeout, specifically on live streams. All stream or 24 hours, pretty much. If we can't do it's only 24 hours yet. So takes everybody. So it's 20. So it's all stream 24 hours or 1 hour. What does people take? And of course, if the timed out 3 hours, but I suppose it depends exactly what it is. But But yes, they're the three options. If anybody has another option, yeah, we can. That's what I take because I thought it was longer, but yes. Oh, an hour has a code. Great. So this is all the live stream, all live, right? So that basically all live stream, like all the stream. So that's for the whole stream, the top one, just to say. Yeah, of course, they understand Casty. Yeah, sorry, go on, move on. Sorry.
Just have to let the cat inside there.
Roger that. So this is just specific to do with live stream, but I do think it's important too, even though it's not necessary all the time. So yeah, a lot of people divided on this one for the first time. But see, this is, I suppose, everybody here. I would say to people to vote if you can, because your opinion does matter. We're listening to people, so like even the moderators, they're watching what you're saying, like not in the sus way, but just to take into account, and they would tell me if there's anything we need to add and stuff. Because there's an awful lot of stuff, as I say, it's a lot of stuff, and I know I'm going through a lot, but it's very hard to kind of talk exactly because we have to define things too. Me, I've probably not in a long time anyway. Yeah, but yeah, so the three strike rule still applies probably for that. But I'm saying for specifically for like should there be like for the timeouts. But if the ban, like if they strike 3 times during the live stream, we probably would consider banning them. But yeah, so suppose we look at, so yeah, this is a bit more divided poll, so we end the poll here. So that can be added in. Which comments? What comments are? See, we couldn't remove comments too. That's the problem. We couldn't remove any comments. We couldn't do anything with any comments. So which one are you talking about the live stream here? I don't think any of them were moved. Why is this not coming up now? It won't come up the poll. But I think it was passed anyway. So this is to do with timeouts. So basically the whole live stream. If somebody is timed out, they're basically banned, not banned, but timed out over the last live stream. Nobody removed your comments. No, I don't think so. Like they were put into time, like let me show you. Like oftentimes they were. Like let's just look. No, we're not removed, but you see the way on YouTube here. You see the way there's a held section. Oftentimes they were in there. The way there's a held section on YouTube, and I always approve them basically. There's oftentimes like there's the only comment section like here, basically. That's the only comment section. But then there's this, So we didn't remove any comments. I don't know. I can assure you that there was no comments removed. YouTube sometimes removes them because I get notifications of them, and then when I click on them, they're not there. So that can happen. But yeah. So what do we propose? So this is so add that in, David. The timeouts will be 24 hours instantaneously for live stream specifically. So now this is the next bit, I suppose, to do with this. Is there anything else that's Moonhawk that I'm not taking up at the moment? Because there's a good lot of stuff.
I just got back there.
Oh yeah, sorry. But yeah, the other thing I want to just discuss, and I think one of the moderators did say it to me too, it's about protecting women particularly. Unfortunately, there has been a few, particularly Fiona, if she stayed here, Saoirse too, a few inappropriate comments were made towards women particularly on the channel. I suppose very sexual. In some case, one case I think was very sexualized comments. But see, we couldn't take action because it was not down. It was never envisaged. Like even here, just say it was our number 4. I suppose this is to do with enforcing threat and abusive behavior, but there was nothing to do with sexual. Not really sexual threats, but overly sexualized stuff. In terms of like specifically said towards a woman, not towards me or anything, but towards a woman. And I don't know. I don't think is not acceptable, just to say. But I don't know. Which mod removed the guy who was saying weird stuff? Who?
That might have been.
I can't remember. What this year? I don't know about that one. I don't think there anybody was. What do you mean that might have been you? I can't remember. No, I don't know. Do you know Moonhappers?
I'm not sure either.
No, I don't know. We can't remember. Unless Davey knows, but I don't think so. But I suppose this to do. So how would we define this? This to do with. Suppose we would call it sexualized threats. Not threats, but I suppose sexualized language against women. Specifically, this is against women. But I don't know. Would you add men into that? Would you add men into that? Because I don't know. I don't think many men would. It's more towards women that could be allocated. So you saying there should be an outright ban? So now they're supporting. It makes sense. Money's good. Sandra Mowen's giving good money. I'm only joking. But as I said, though, I have my reasons. As I said, I made literally videos discussing my whole reasons. But there's this to do with sexualized language. So what exactly? So define sexualized language. Just that's the question I'm asking people now. What is sexualized language specifically against women? Now, just to say. Do you have anything to say on that, Moonhunters? Not that I remember going. I don't think so. No. Yeah, so go ahead, Moonhunters. Yeah.
Execution for.
That's a bit extreme now, but no, we're not going that far. But so this is so. What would you deem as sexualized language, particularly against women? Within reason now. Don't be saying anything in the pub.
Maybe just sexual remarks, like comments or something, just based on their gender or something like that.
Yeah, see, I don't know how you would frame that. Do you have an idea, Davey? Davey would have more of a brain than I would on this. Because I do think it's appropriate, because it has been, unfortunately, happened within the last month, it has happened once or twice. And I wasn't aware of this until literally 2 days ago when I was showing these stuff. That was said specifically towards women. And I didn't see it because it was on the team. Oh, you mean for that kid like kick out? I don't know. So it's supposed to do with this is to do with overly. Let me see. No sexual comments, especially after they're told to stop threatening. But whoa, that's a bit too much there. But yeah. But I suppose it goes back to instantaneously. I don't think about ban. Like, do you think it'd be an outright ban? I suppose that's the good question. How do you spell insults, man? Not the time.
INSU.
Yes.
And then SULTS.
TS, yes, TS. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Tito's.
No problem.
Sexual insults. Yes, thanks. Yeah, see, that's the way good having the motto is here too. So sexual insults towards women. I know I'm probably spelling some of things wrong, but yeah. I suppose should it be? I suppose the 3-step rule is in. So I suppose we would just remove the comments and stuff. Yeah, like threats to rape and stuff. I think that goes with threats, like threats of violence and stuff. Yeah, like I don't think that needs to be voted on. Whatever about sexualized comments, but definitely threats of rape and stuff would be under already. Like when we get to number 5 in a few days' time, it definitely would be under number 5. Like it definitely would be, because it is like threats of violence, threats to rape. Like, so that would be deemed. So I don't think it's necessary to that because it was more sexualized comments. I suppose we can add it in band. Like I suppose that can be exception to the 3-strike rule. Would you take so Aaron only too? Not Aaron only, sorry. Moving on, sorry, confusing you, Aaron only. You're the new moderator. But would you take like it's sexual insult should be an outright ban straight away?
Maybe 1 or 2 warnings and that's that.
So you take warnings, yeah. So, but no, just to say on like, yeah, not really that. I like people are entitled to, I suppose, thinking that way, but I'm more or less saying overly sexualized things. Like one of the comments that was said the other day, I think David would remember something about bringing them to bed, like one of the women to bed and stuff, like overly sexualized stuff, something that probably shouldn't be said, in a public comment section. You know, David probably would remember all the comments, but I seen them the other day and I wasn't too happy about it. But we couldn't do anything about it because we didn't have, because it wasn't specific threats of rape. If it was specific threats of rape, we could straight away take it down. But we couldn't do anything because it wasn't like a direct threat of rape. So that's why that's why we're asking. Should it be an outright, we asked the people, should it be an outright ban? Or the 3 strike rule, 3 strike rule.
I'm thinking maybe even 2 strikes for that.
But we stuck to the truth. But I suppose the only option here is, should it be an outright ban or remove the comment? Remove the comments and everything. I suppose this is to do. So this is to do with sexual insults towards women, particularly. Now there was one time that actually was like a really sexual insult towards the woman behind me, standing out in my comment section, etc., which I didn't feel very nice about to hear about. It was really overly sexualized, like graphic details too about it. This is back a good long time ago. You know, I don't know about that. We suppose we can talk more about that, but we can talk about the definition of that. But particularly, I suppose, with the comments that were made the other day, they kind of have to be some kind of rule put in to protect women in that regard. Not so much men, but it was particularly overly sexualized towards women. Not so much about, if somebody deems that a woman should be, shouldn't have the right to vote, so that's their opinion. But I think they're wrong in that. Of course, I look up to a woman. I will be honest, I do look up to a woman, and I do think, that people shouldn't take like that. That's my personal view. I do think everybody should have the right to vote in terms of a woman or a man. If you're an Irish citizen, you have the right to vote. Simple as that. If you're an Irish woman or an Irish man, you have the right to vote. That's the way I see it. Some people see it differently, and that's their right to see it. But I, as I say, as somebody who looks up to a woman, etc., that I have great respect for women. And I think everybody should have great respect for women because it takes 2 to tango. We all have a mother. We all have a father, etc. So we should be respectful. And only for our mothers, etc., we wouldn't be here today, basically. And I do think it's important to respect women. And to treat them with respect, I think, above all else. But anyway, that's the poll at the moment. But as I say, we can add what exactly we do. Yeah, YouTube puts like delete certain comments, yeah, but yeah. So yeah, this is just to say to people, do vote on this. It's up to people what. So as I say, it's an outright ban if somebody does like really sexualized. Like I'm really talking about really sexualized like comments. And the 3 strike rule is what we discussed. Just to say, if anybody's confused, do let me know too. But the 3 strike rule, basically, we would give them 3 strikes. We would take the comment down, of course. And we give them 3 strikes, and if they do it 3 times, we ban them. Simple as that. But the outright ban would be straight away, like unless it's something like very, very minor. But if it's something like we seen the other day, straight away it has to be done. Simple as that. It has to be done. Because this is like anybody who's seen these comments would say straight away it should have been done. But we didn't have the rules. Like we have the rule now. Say if this is passed now, we have the rule now that we can do something. That makes sense. So beforehand, you could deem it as threatening behavior, but it's not really down here already as threatening behavior, because it was never envisioned that somebody would do that to a woman in the comments. It was never thought of in 2020 that could ever happen. Yeah, I'm saying that's the problem, I suppose. But as I say, it's up to the people of the channel, whatever you think, it'd be respected and put in. Yeah, but at the end of the day, we decided this in 2020, Luke, that the people would decide. This is what we're doing here. That the people decide what is appropriate, what isn't appropriate. Because at the end of the day, that's their choice. It's their channel. They're watching me. It's their choice what happens too. Like, that's the whole thing. And it's democracy too. The people have the choice in what happens. People can govern. But yeah, But I leave it up for another few minutes. Obviously, a good lot of people are very divided on this. But as I say, it won't be done like, for example, if it's only a minor comment, like say, for example, even though I would disagree with it, people I've often seen people say it, that women should never be allowed to vote, etc., which I disagree immensely with. I don't think that's right at all in a modern society. I've often seen people say about women being in the kitchen and stuff, which is, I don't think it's right too, because women had particularly women have such good gifts, particularly with children and stuff and childcare and stuff. They have such good gifts of looking after children and helping children, even as teachers and stuff. They're good listeners instead of men, etc. That's what I'm trying to say. We'll leave it up for a minute because I know it's up to people again. Decide among yourselves. But whatever comes out, we will do whatever we can to stop it. Yeah, but this is the thing. About history and cultural things. It's very hard because the Irish Constitution does say, even if I disagree with it, it's very hard to have that in, if that makes sense. I don't know. We could vote on it, of course, but I don't know because we don't want it just to be like the Gestapo here, that we be hunting people down for people for doing mild things, Yeah. But definitely, like, if it's an outright threat of rape, just to show people, because we will talk about the fetch of the other parts. This is only part one, just to say. This is to do with the freedom of speech and stuff. What exactly is, when it gets too much, I suppose, on the side of too much, when it's a bit over the limit and what it said. But the other thing, like part 5, when we get down there, we can add in rape to it, because it's already threatened abusive behavior and threats of violence, etc.
Look, I mean, that's even extreme violence at that.
So the vote is passed. Vote-all is passed. Should be now outright banned. So that is implemented. So the 3-strike rule won't be implemented. It's an outright ban. So say for somebody threatens, like not even threats a woman, but makes really sexualized stuff. I'm talking about really sexualized. That they'd be straight away banned for that offence. Not from like we say, from miles up. And if you don't agree with women voting, etc., we'll probably not ban you for that. But if it's something really, really bad, we'll like in terms of saying something really sexual to a woman, or saying about getting her into bed or something like that, to a random woman on a comment section on YouTube, we're not going to tolerate it. I think that's fair enough. I think does everybody agree with that? Just to say, but as I say, if it's something like, even if you disagree with women voting, etc., even though I might disagree with it, I do disagree with it. I'd say, I do think that falls under freedom of speech, that bit. Even though I might not agree with it, that kind of falls under freedom of speech, because at the end of the day, it's your opinion, But I do think saying overly sexualized stuff, like what was said the other day about a woman to a woman, I think that's disrespectful, But it was said to you, Fiona, I think too, and Saoirse too. I don't know if Saoirse's here at the moment. I think to you, Devlis too, I think it was. No, we won't. We allow Brian. We'll give him a pardon. Because he's kind of known for just saying, who's the girl? Yeah, I understand that, but I suppose, is there anything else, Dave, you want that, or Moonhunters, anything, sorry? Because I'm kind of yapping all the time. I'm leaving Moonhunters, I'm abandoning them.
No, that's all right. Because I completely agree with everything you said.
Yes. But anything else you would want to see added?
Yeah, we need a statue of Santa Maria ASAP.
That's great. Yes, get that done. We're voting on that next. But no, in all seriousness, I'm just trying to think his end is. Like, we will propose, and I don't think this is. I think it should be up to the moderators, and like I will overstep this bit. But I do think it should be up to us. Like, we were proposing that people would be banned if the community were in favour of it. So say, for example, if I wanted just to get rid of Gordon now in the morning, I'm picking on you, Gordon. Say, for example, we wanted to ban you. We would vote on the community post for it. But I don't think that's appropriate. I think it's, I don't think that's fair. I think we should, the moderators and the community, because obviously we have the 3-strike rule, and I think that's good enough. I don't think we need to propose that, because I think the 3-strike rule would be good enough. Instead of letting people vote, because then we would just have people starting gangs, ganging up on each other, etc. We couldn't do that. But is there anything anybody wants to ask? What's the next vote? What's the next vote people would want to see? Just when we're here now, because I can't think of anything else at the moment. I could be wrong. But basically, the 3 strike rule basically solves pretty much nearly everything. Are you up to date, Dave? You don't need us to slow down, right? Because I know you're writing this up. Just let us know. So Aaron only was proposing there, and I suppose we would need to look at it. If it was passed, we need to kind of look at it. But it's to do with Aaron only was saying about. So this is to do with we didn't plan this, but this is to do with anti-Irish rhetoric, particularly making insults about Ireland, etc. Now, I suppose when it comes to this bit, just to say, and I'm just putting this out there, that we need to define what is deemed anti-Irish insults. That's what we need to define, because people are entitled to believe whatever they want to believe about Ireland. I will say from outside, like we have the right to say anything about their country. They have the right to say anything about our country, or even we have to say about our country. No, so we have to define what is anti-Irish, the Irish government. But long as we have to define it. So what is the definition of anti-Irish? I know Aaron only was asking about it, but are we talking about history, the history of Ireland, disrespecting the history? So take for example, just when I'm saying about the history, like say for example, I've often seen people saying we were better off staying with the British than fighting for Irish independence, sovereignty, etc. What does people think about that? Do you think it's history, or do you think it's assaulting Irish culture, the language? What do you think? What do you deem as anti-Irish? Again, Aaron only was proposing this. Again, it doesn't have to be passed if people would deem it, because again, I suppose it's hard to know because again, people are entitled to criticize. This is the thing. Like, we don't want to silence criticism. That's the problem. So I suppose, how do you balance that? How do you work out what is anti-Irish? You get what I'm saying? It's very hard to definition that. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very hard. This is the problem. Like, even people would say, sometimes the Irish people were involved in the slave trade, etc. And there was some Irish people, don't get me wrong, there was some Irish people back in the day involved in it, of course. And people would say, but Irish people who fought for the Confederacy in America, take example. And that is true. There's Irish people that did fight for the Confederacy, etc. And that's a fact of history. Like, it's not making up accusations. It's like a fact. But I suppose, what would people deem it as? Because I don't know how we would describe it. Because again, I'm looking at number 5. Not even 5, sorry. No, I'm looking at number 5. The other thing was number 4. I'm looking at number 5 here, and it says about the Constitution of Ireland. And the Constitution of Ireland lets you criticize anything you want. It's a free country. So I don't know how you would define it. That's what I'm trying to say. If we did add it in, I don't know how you would do it. But this is the thing. But I suppose the 3 strike rule would imply too in that, because we kind of have the definition that the 3 strike rule will define in that too. Like, it pretty much would define in everything, apart from basically attacking women, like the overly sexualized comments. Yeah, probably Irish people to solve the famine and stuff, probably something like that. No, we owe an apology to nobody, but you get what I'm saying. People still have the right, even though from Greece or from Timbuktu, they still have the right to say, I don't like Ireland, etc. We can't just ban people saying, you don't like Ireland, we're going to get rid of you. You get what I'm saying? Because we have the right to say about, South Africa, we don't like South Africa, or we don't like Saudi Arabia, or we don't like this country. You get what I'm saying? We have the right to say that. So, and I think it would be unfair if they came along and said, I don't like Ireland. And then we can say, we don't like your country, but you can't say you don't like Ireland, So it's very hard. So how would we define it, just to say, because we can vote on it and see what people say, because at the end of the day, it's up to the community here. But at the end of the day, I would say to people just on this regard, even though I don't like people insulting Ireland, Ireland done a lot for the world, and Ireland has fought for a lot, and Ireland suffered a lot to gain its independence and its freedom. But whatever people would want, that's the thing. Yeah, very respectful towards Ireland, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, even if somebody just came along and said, I don't like Ireland for such and such, we can't just say, we disagree with you, going to ban you. We can't just do that. So I suppose this is a really tough one, because at the end of the Constitution does discuss the Irish Constitution. And it does say in it, the Constitution, that you're entitled to your freedom of speech. So how do we define this? I start the poll now, but this is to do with let's see. What would you say, Aaron? Not Aaron. Because you're the moderator, Aaron. What would you say, Moonhunters? Yeah, false facts.
You define it as.
Yeah, go on,
sir. Say it's fucking racism.
Well, I suppose it depends what's that. But I don't know about racism because I don't know how to. Well, I don't know. Like, I do agree with what Big Brass said there. Like false facts, like really false things made up about Ireland. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Like, I do agree with that statement. Yeah, false facts. But of course, we would have to look into what was said, etc. But that'd be fair enough. We don't mind looking into that. I do agree with that bit. Anti-Irish false facts. But what else would you say? What would you say, Davey?
Sorry, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I don't really know at the Irish. Insulting to Irish. Just trying to define it. That's interesting. But again, this could, as I say, there is, and like for me, just to say, but again, people can take whatever way they want. For me, there is a worry here, particularly when it comes to this, and I will be honest with people when I say this, that that it is room here to can be, it can be abused. It really can be abused to silence people a lot too, and I suppose. So there is a worry here, I suppose, in my regard, and particularly on this one, and I will say that. That it can be it'd be very awkward to kind of enforce, because the Irish Constitution does allow you to speak. But I don't know. But again, it's up to people. But we have to try and we would really have to define this. That's what I'm trying to say. We would really have to just define it. Like, we would really, really have to define it. Something for us, like really, like we would have to literally sit down and write a big essay on it now, because it would have to be very definition. What I mean by that is literally would have to be. So to the point, what exactly we're trying to achieve by this, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, people have to, they can, like people from, say, for example, from South Africa, to disagree with Ireland, even take, for example, with the stance in Palestine, etc.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know, but I will let people know. Insulting to Irish sovereignty, I would say. Now, just to put in here, just to add in, this would be to do, like, even I've often had people say Ireland should join NATO, etc. And that's fair enough. That's their opinion. If they think Ireland should join NATO, etc., that's their opinion. I don't think they should be banned for something like that, because that's their view. If they think Ireland should join it, that's fair enough. But like Micheál Martin should be banned for backwards on idea sovereignty, like something like that. Yeah, 100%. Yes, no Neil. Very. I will put another option. Very limited. And what I mean by that is we have to kind of really write what exactly we're trying to achieve for this. Really, really write it. Now, just to propose, this is by Aaron Oney. Now, this is a proposal from the chat. So just write that down too, David. That this is a proposal from Aaron Oney too. So we know that, just so we know, we're not going to out Aaron Oney or anything, but just so we know, because we had a plan kind of what we were going to ask, what exactly we're doing. So just to know, because this is an extra thing rather than. So this is to do with really anti-Irish false facts, insulting to Irish sovereignty. So this, again, we have to talk about it after the vote if it does. Whatever way, and again, I say to people, I do personally have concerns about this, because it can be, we probably can silence a lot of people for even just basic criticism about Ireland. I don't think that should be fair. But I do think it false facts and insulting Irish sovereignty, like saying about staying with Britain, or becoming like say, for example, the whole European Union unionizes and becomes like a European army, etc. I do think things like that, maybe even the European army. I do think that's fair enough. People want to say they want to be a European army. That's fair enough. But I do think particularly threats to Irish sovereignty, etc. I do think that should be looked at. But I do think the 3 strike rule should apply. I just put 2 that I don't know. Like the last one, don't know. Because I don't know. Some people won't know really with this one, to be totally honest with you. Because I don't really know myself what really define it as. But yeah, this is to do with it. This is a long one now, but just to say there is a few things. But I would personally say I don't know. But at the end of the day, whatever the people decide, then that's the thing. Because it can be used in many different ways. We have to very define it. Like this has to be the most defined thing so far. Because but again, I would say to people, it's up to people here. But it has to be very different. There has to be literally a big definition of what exactly can be enforced and what can't be enforced.
Yeah.
And I do think the 3 strike should apply for this too. And of course, people can appeal it and stuff. But I say to people to vote on it. If anybody has any questions, do ask me now. We leave it for a few minutes to vote, just so people can think about it for a second. Because it is. I will say it is very, and I do. And so far, this is the one that I'm a bit worried about because it can be taken up in many different ways. Any comment at all, but it will be taken up as fairly as possible. Any comments that would help us? Or any comments, Damien? That
I think that's a bit of a tough one. That
yeah, I don't know, but we have to just write a big definition for it, I suppose.
It does really have to be like properly defined.
It does, yeah. It really has to be. Fucking fly, kill the fly. Get away. There's a fly attacking me. Yeah.
Because some people are going to be heavily, and I mean very heavily, politically opinionated. So, let's just say the heat can rise quite quickly.
Yeah, that's true. But as I say, we're given another minute just because it is a divisive, I suppose, thing to suggest. We're not divisive thing to suggest. This is kind of a very hard thing to define, but we really have to have the big definition of it. Just to say, like more than the others, we would have to have extreme definition. But I do think, like false facts, I think that's a no-brainer too. Like somebody literally just spread false information.
Yeah.
So I take it as the vote has passed. So it's Tar, for Tar. So the vote has passed. Darren Only's amendment has passed. So now this is to do. Of course, the 3 strike rule will apply to this too. So there won't be just an outright ban of these 3. So it's total with Sud's top. Very limited too, people have said. Maybe not, yeah. But so what do we define as anti-Irish, just to say, because we have to define this. Are you okay, Davey, too, with all the writing? Do you need me to slow down or anything? Because we need a definition of anti-Irish. But I would say, first of all, just for me personally, that false facts, like we will look into the things, whatever the person says. If they're openly saying Ireland is, take for example, supplying, I don't know, was supplying, I don't know, what, let me say, the Taliban or something. Ireland was giving guns to the Taliban or something like that. Like, like, let's be fair. That would be false because let's be fair, why would Ireland be giving guns, literally guns to the Taliban? So something like that, that's a no-brainer. That I think that's beyond discussion, that bit. But now, what would you define as anti-Irish rhetoric, just to say? I know the Irish government is number one priority. We have to ban the government of the Celts. But what would you define it? Because we have to define it, like, very definition of it. What would people think? Again, don't hold back anybody, just to say. Don't be afraid to say anything, too. Yeah, like, that would be kind of false, your accusation, too. Like, that's what we are, like, that's no-brainer, that bit. But it's particularly the anti-Irish bit. How do you define what is anti-Irish, Oh, yeah, but, like, I don't think the Irish government are giving guns. They might be giving them money and stuff, but I don't think they're giving them guns, But what do you take? Just last week. I know this is a long thing, but it needs to be defined very fiercely. This part. But
maybe something
yeah,
like saying that maybe something stupid like saying all Irish people are just off-brand British people or something stupid like that.
But I still think that would fall under free speech. I still think that would follow, even though I wouldn't like it. But I still think that's free speech. I still think that would be definition of free speech. But I think
to be honest, that could just be a banter.
Yeah, that would be considered as banter. Yeah, in my view, anyway. Thanks, Luke. Appreciate it. Sorry, we were too busy yapping all day. So yeah, but I think threats of Irish sovereignty. Particularly, I don't know exactly, but I suppose really gravely offensive stuff about, say, for example, the famine, that Irish people should have been killed all during the famine, etc. Something like that. Yeah, like it would still be the 3-strike rule that would be straight away banned. Yeah, like respecting Irish people's culture and stuff, but I don't know how you would define it. Like, what exactly? Well, like, take for example, I suppose the definition I'm looking for. Take for example, somebody comes in here now tomorrow morning, right, and says to me something about Irish culture, right? How could you define what's freedom of speech and what is anti-Irish, I suppose? Because at the end of the day, they do, like, I know about Japan and stuff like that, but yeah, but I don't know how to find it. See, this is the hard thing now because we have to find a definition. I would just add, Davey, like I do think everyone only because I don't really know what to really add, but I would say to respect Irish people's culture. And I suppose with this one too, I do think we should probably give somebody a warning if they do it. Once off warning now, along with the 3-strike group, particularly for this, just to give them a warning if they are going to it. But I do think it should be respect for Irish sovereignty. So I would say respect in Irish culture and Irish traditions, and not making fun of them. I suppose that's the way I would define it. And I suppose about sovereignty too, to protect Irish sovereignty too, because oftentimes we have people saying that Ireland should be. But even though you probably could define it, but I suppose we get to that bridge someday when it comes to it, because it's very, very hard definition. It's a really, really hard definition. There's going to be problems with this one. There is going to be problems. I can see it in the future. There will be problems, but they just have to be talked about, I suppose. But we can come back to people at a later time if we need to look at it again. But any of the proposals at the moment, I suppose we did talk for a good while about that. But that's what we added in at the moment. But I suppose that's where we can be expanded eventually. If somebody has any suggestion, we can expand that one eventually. But you just put that down, Davey, as Aaron Only's proposal on that one, just to make sure. Because it is a proposal that we're putting on. It's not that we're suggesting at the moment. The other thing actually we have to suggest is to do with misinformation. Now, there was misinformation spread over me, and I know we hear that from the government a lot, but particularly about in terms of my job, that I didn't have a job and I was on disabilities. And of course, that's wrong. I will say that to people. I'm there for another 2 weeks. I have 2 weeks left before I retire from my job. So I suppose you could kind of argue it's not really right yet because I'll be going on to college in 2 weeks' time. But I'm still at my job for the moment for another 2 weeks. But basically, it was blatant disinformation too. But I wouldn't mind if there was evidence produced to show, but there's no evidence to produce to show that was on like disabilities. You wouldn't be entitled to disabilities anyway. But what I'm trying to say is to do with misinformation. Now, how would you define out disinformation? But even though, I hate having to use that word, but it is. I suppose it goes into slander too. Slandering people too. What do you take? Like slandering people's names too? I suppose misinformation, slandering.
Couldn't that go under cyberbullying, no?
Go ahead, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Couldn't that go under cyberbullying?
Not really. I don't know. I'd say it was just misinformation, lies about people. I suppose lies about people.
Legally, that's what fucking.
No, do you know what?
Sorry,
Yeah, but do you know?
my
Yeah, do you know what we had? But how did you find bullying? I suppose it goes back to what we said about earlier on.
The rage thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
Why am I
suppose.
just picking on someone constantly?
Yeah, but this bit. So I suppose this would be added in as bullying too, along with misinformation. Well, I don't know actually about bullying. No, I don't know about that. Defamatory, yeah. Like that's the same thing. Whatever way, but I would call it maybe misinformation, lies about people. Yeah, but see, we don't have a bullying policy. That's the policy. That's the problem. We don't have one already. We have a threatening policy, so we don't have this. But as I say, the only thing I could say, like when I was asked about, was I on disabilities, etc. The only thing I have to show, like for that, in terms of proving that, is my payslip, which you're not really allowed to show. You're not really allowed to show it, because there is a government payslip. You're not allowed to really show it. You're told really not to show it from the bank to people. So that's why I couldn't show it. Only for that I would show it, because I basically have nothing to hide in that regard. But you're basically not allowed to show it. So that's the problem, which is a nuisance. But yeah. Hiding the truth. Yeah, but people type to ask personal questions, personal info and stuff. I don't deem that as like we should ban something for that straight away. I don't think that's unnecessary. But people are perfectly entitled. Like I'm a public figure and perfectly entitled to ask what I do and etc. They're perfectly entitled to question everything. That's the thing. But it's more so for other people. People on the channel. I don't really care about myself. But yeah, so suppose this is to do with like we call it lies about people. At least bots. Which bots? We used to have loads of bots. Like we literally have a rule. The only other rule is to do with bots. Like we do have that already. So if there is a bot like just constantly spamming like things, we can deal with that. That is literally there already. So at least that's a good thing for that. So yeah, we add that in. So this is to do with lies, particularly to do with people lies, etc. Now I do take should the 3-strike rule apply for this, or should it just be like the comments get deleted? What do you take, Aaron? Like not Aaron on. He keeps saying Aaron on. You have to change your name, Moonhunters. What do you take?
Maybe so, yeah. Yeah, no, because if it's not severe, and it's just someone being annoying, I would say, yeah, maybe go with 3-strike here.
Yeah, I don't think an outright ban should be put beyond this one. I do think the 3-strike rule should apply. It's either down to two things: either there be 3-strike rule, or either the comment be removed. That's what I take. I don't think it should be an outright ban. Now, I suppose it depends again if something happens. Really, like for me, take for example, I don't think somebody should be banned for making a false lie about me unless it's really, really bad. Particularly when it was come to that, because I basically have told you what's the truth. Basically, you get what I'm saying. That I only have 2 weeks left of my job and stuff. That I'm not on disabilities. I wouldn't be entitled to disabilities. I never would be entitled to disabilities. As you can see, I can still move my hands. I can move my legs. I'm able to walk. I shouldn't be entitled to anything. It's the same with jobs, as I said, with job seekers and stuff. I was on it for about 5 weeks before I got my job, etc. And I hated every bit of it. I hated every bit of it. To be totally honest, like, I do think anybody who's able to walk should be walking. Like somebody that's disabled in a wheelchair or not able to move or able to function that well, they should be on disabilities. People like myself who are able to walk and should walk, and I do think the state shouldn't let anybody like myself onto well, you wouldn't be allowed, you wouldn't be accepted on the disabilities. But what I'm trying to say, even for job seekers, I don't think they probably should be, and it probably should be looked at job seekers too, that people wouldn't be allowed. But no, this is the thing: you're a public figure. You're people are perfectly entitled to know what you're doing, etc. That's just a simple thing. It's your public figure. You owe the public answers, to what you're doing. But this is the thing. It'd be different if you were a private citizen, not doing social media and stuff. But people are perfectly entitled to know where your money's coming from and what you're doing. Are you contributing to society, or you're a waste? That's the only answer. But yeah, this is about lies, but particularly not against me. I haven't. Just to say that this is only to do with other people. This is not to do with myself. I won't include myself into it. I'd be exempt from this. Like pretty much the majority of stuff here will be exempt from me. If it's directed towards me, it's only towards other people. But I'm just taking Fiona. If it's, say, for example, somebody comes up to you tomorrow in the comments and says, "Oh yeah, Fiona, you're on whatever," I do think the 3-strike rule should help for that. And let people decide. Again, it's up to people to take for themselves. So this is to do with lies. I suppose we call it defamatory to us, Davey. If you want to add that in, it's defamatory lies, I suppose. But I won't be included in that, just to say. Because at the end of the day, as a public figure, just 1 second, just let me make this point. As a public figure, you're bound. You have to answer people's questions. You have no choice in the matter. You have to answer. When you put yourself out there, you owe the people an explanation. You owe the people an answer. If it's to do with your job, etc. As I say, I could show you the only thing I could show to prove that I'm working, etc., is my job slip, my pay slip. But technically, not allowed to show that until you're finished. Like you're not really allowed to show it in general. You're not, because there's basically a private document too, and it has my PPS number and has everything on it. And you're not allowed to basically show it. And even if it's a government pay slip too, like mine's a government pay slip. You're technically not allowed to show it. Like even if I think it says at the bottom too, not to show it to anybody. Because there's a private number and then there's the PSOI number, like my PSOI number and other things, and then the state numbers and stuff on it. But I can assure you that I'm walking. I'm walking for another 2 more weeks anyway. That's just the simple truth. I only have 2 more weeks left. But I have been walking the last 4 years, just to address that. I have been walking for the last, since I left school 4 years ago, I have been walking. Apart from them for, I think it was 5 weeks. Yeah, 5 weeks. And I hated every bit of the door, and I never would sign on to the door again. So yeah, hated every bit of it. Because it isn't fair that people go out to walk and expect to pay for somebody sitting at home. I don't think that's fair. But anyway, the vote is passed, so it's the 3-strike rule applies for that. So this is to do with, just to say, defamatory lies, Davey. That's the bad. But anything else anybody wants to suggest? And again, I do appreciate it. I know it's a long live stream. It's a lot of stuff. Do you have anything to suggest me, Malcolm? Sorry.
No, I think I'm all good here.
David, do you have any suggestions, just to say? Because before we take any other suggestions. Does anybody else have any other suggestions then? And again, apologies, I'm not reading everything in the chat, because I have to talk about all this, because if I was reading everything, it's the one time I don't read everything today, because I just too much to talk about at the moment. I suppose when we're here, even though we're kind of skipping it, covers it, yes, pretty much. But suppose when we're here, number 5, suppose just when we're here, I suppose that's the next question that we'll need too. Should we apply the 3-step rule to Mountain Juju at the moment? Should we give him 3 more chances to behave himself? Or should we ban him now, or what do you think? Or do you think this is a definition in terms of the new rules of the channel? Because technically too, this is the thing. At the moment, this is just hear me out for 2 seconds. At the moment, with these new rules, they come in straight away. Basically, they come in as soon as we're finished today. They come in straight away. These new rules straight away. Like, do you think we should give them these 3 last chances and that's it after that? Because basically, the rules now at the moment, the majority of them are covered. Like in terms of wage bait and stuff, they're pretty much there. There's 3 rules. Occupation. I work on the county council, like I work on the roads and stuff, cleaning up the roads. They're doing all that, just basically cleaning up, taking the rubbish out of the bins and stuff. That's basically what I'm doing for another 2 weeks now. But that's what I'm doing. That's what I've been doing for the last few years, I know. To that, but yeah. So I suppose this is the amendment. I suppose we ask people this now. Because I suppose at the moment these rules only have to coming in. But I suppose all this is about Mountain Juju. Now, I will say, I've literally got so many complaints about him over the last few months, and literally upwards, like in the last 2 weeks, I've got about nearly 20 complaints about him. And rightly so, particularly what he said to a few women. Like some people are very, very annoyed about it, and rightly so. I wasn't happy seeing them either, and what he said to 1 or 2 women. Not so much what he said to me. I'm not like water of ducks back for me, but it's for other people. He said a lot of bad things to some other people too. Now I do think they were meant to be edgy or something, but I suppose the amendment to be asked here. This is not to do with the Constitution, but I do think personally, we should give him 3 more chances, even though he has done some terrible stuff. But the fact of the matter, the Constitution, when this stuff that he done wasn't in, basically, we didn't have the power to do anything, to stop him from doing what he was doing before. These powers now will stop him doing whatever he's doing, basically, especially with the wage baiting and talking smack to women, etc. They will be able to deal with that, basically. These amendments here will be able to deal with that. Like straight away, literally as soon as this live stream ends. Then, like it is total disruption too, but there was never a rule about disruption too. Like a lot of people have said to me, it was total disruption too, even though we had these views and stuff. And sometimes he had these views, etc. But in terms of that, a lot of people did find that he was taking over the comment sections more than anything else. And that's been said to me 3 or 4 times, that a lot of people did find that too, that he was taking over the comment section. A lot of people did, I will say this, 3 or 4 people did ring me. Not ring me, sorry, message me to say about this, that they were afraid to comment because he could say something. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think that is fair. And I did say it even to the moderators at the time, that shouldn't be probably allowed. That it never was put in here, like the original one. It never was said about, if somebody was making people afraid to comment, etc. Do you get my point? That was never in it before. But there was 2 or 3 people that did generally come to me to say they were afraid to comment because he could say something to them or rage bait them. Now, people could argue you should have banned them and you should have blocked them, etc. And I think many people have blocked them, etc. But I suppose the amendment that I'm putting, I let you just stop 2 seconds about this. But I suppose what we're proposing at the moment is, I suppose the proposal is, should we ban him? Should we give him these 3 strikes? And I suppose that's it. Or should we? I don't know what else you could do, but at the moment, should we allow that? Should we give him the 3 strike rule, or should we ban him tonight? That's, I suppose, the main thing to ask people at the moment. What do you think, Moon, on this? Because I do think we should give him 3 more chances, and if he doesn't learn his lesson, and especially because the things are here at the moment, like they are here at the moment to do with wage baiting and to do with here, like abusing women, etc. We have it here, like we literally have it here. Whatever about myself, he can say whatever to myself. But what do you think, Moon? We'll vote in a second, and just think about it for a second. What do you think, Moon, on this?
I think he should be setting an example, and he should be gone. Honestly, he's already done quite a bit of damage. I think he should just be the first example. Fuck around and find out.
But this is the thing I would say, no, because I suppose you could say the rules wouldn't in. The rules are only coming in now. Like beforehand, we didn't have the power to like ban them or to do anything based on them. But now we have the power. Like as soon as this live stream's finished, the rules are coming in. So I suppose people could argue that too. They could argue that the rules weren't there in the first place to stop them before, but they're there now. Do you get my point?
My vote is to be against him and to stop his pillaging, if you could put it past that.
Yeah, but as I say, we let people decide here, I suppose, but it will be done straight after the live stream. But it's up to the people to decide. But a lot of people are very upset about them. But as I say, it's up to the people of the channel to decide, because I have literally got, if I counted them all up, I must have about 100 complaints over the last few months about them. Like people ask me every week about it, and I won't understand. There's a lot of people who were very upset, but I understand there were some awful things said to people that were not nice, were not in good taste. And I wouldn't mind if you had your view on something. That's fair enough. But specifically when it came to cases of rape, etc., of children being assaulted, etc., some snide comments, etc. Yeah, of course, Ish, I know. But the simple fact of the matter, I suppose, just a video, and I could explain a lot. But basically, the old constitution we had of the channel, the rules and regulations for me and the moderators to abide by, we couldn't do anything to stop that, because the only thing was here was threatening abusive behavior. Like, somebody was threatening to kill somebody, That's the only thing we could ban somebody for, But now we have rules. We have all the rules to deal with disruption. We have all the rules to deal with anything. And we have a 3-strike rule at the moment. So my proposal is, I would propose that we give him 3 more chances. And if he blows this, then that's the end, basically. That's the end of him. And I would say to people, we'll vote on the now. But I suppose the option is the 3-strike rule or the 3-strike rule of the ban, yes, sorry. Yeah, like, I don't mind me. Like, this doesn't matter to me, but it's more to the fact of the matter, I suppose a lot of people are not happy too. But a lot of people weren't happy. I got literally 4 complaints straight away about it. What he said about me, particularly that time. And not to mention too, I will say this just before I go over, but when I was over in Lahti in Finland, I was skiing, etc. And there was genuine concern, a lot of very serious concern straight away about, and I think everyone only knows about this too. I think you know about Moonhunters and Davy too. When I went skiing on the ski resort, and he said about me getting a broken leg, I think it was. And there was serious concern because I didn't have my phone on at the time. And a lot of people seen that and thought that he was with me and that it actually happened and stuff. And people were very concerned. People were really concerned about it. And there was a lot of, like, for a good while, for an hour or two, there was a lot of talk. They didn't know, did I break my leg? Was I seriously injured in hospital? What was the story? And a lot of people were very, very annoyed about that, to find out that was, even though I think he meant in the joke and comment, but a lot of people took him serious, and particularly when it came to, just as I was saying about complaints, I got 4 or 5 complaints about what he would, like the way he talked to me the other day. Now, I don't mind. I didn't mind. I get worse said to me. But a lot of people found it very disrespectful that he was saying about you're dyslexic, nobody will employ you, etc. You get what I'm saying? A lot of people thought that was really, really disrespectful to an extent, because especially because I don't talk shit to anybody. Like, I don't talk down to people anyway. I always try and be nice to people, even if I disagree with them in the comments. I always try and be nice to them. And that's the main thing in life, is trying to be nice. You be firm but respectful, So basically, this is to do with Martin Juju. So this is to do with an outright ban, or basically give him a 3-strike rule. What I mean by that is 3 extra chances. He has 3 extra chances. He can behave himself. Like, personally, I would say we should give him 3 extra chances, like, to see would he redeem himself to a certain degree. But at the end of the day, it's up to the people here. So so this is to do with, but it'll be done literally after the stream. Won't be done now, but outright. The 3-strike rule. As I say, the 3-strike rule is new, but I suppose at the end of the day, it's up to the people of the channel what to, because a lot of people have complained, and rightly so. And again, that some things that were said were awful. Some things were freedom of speech. Don't get me wrong, that people just didn't like. But a lot of stuff that he did say to people were not nice now. Were not nice. And I know there's no law against not being nice, but you know. But this is to do with, as I say, you know, as I say, I don't mind him insulting me. I don't mind that. I'm not going to include myself into anything. But so this is to do with the poll. So the poll is live now. So as I say, it's to do with the 3 strike rule. So basically, it's 3 more chances of an outright ban. It's entirely up to people what they think. But just to argue too that some people would say that these new rules only came in today, basically. But as I say, this will be the first. This will probably be the only time there will be like we won't be going to the people all the time saying we should we ban this person, should we ban that person. You know. So yeah. So we'll give it a few more minutes, but message just don't off. No bothers here. Yeah, it was a lot of stuff. We probably should watch this live stream later on because there's a lot of stuff gone through. We leave it for another minute because again, I suppose this is the reason why we're here today because the rules weren't tested for a long, long time. The rules were never tested since 2020. This is the first time. For the last few months of the rules were tested. Do you have anything else to say on the rules? Because they were never tested, Moonhunters. I'm sure you would agree. We never had to have these discussions up until recently.
Got put this back.
Put which back, sorry?
And we never really got pushed this back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah. Is there anything else you want to say? Oh, yeah. Sorry, go on ahead.
No, that's all.
Yeah. No, you have anything else to say in general? Because I'm kind of talking, like I'm literally just here talking, and I'm not asking you anything at all. But see, if we were just having a normal conversation, I'd be talking to you a bit more. But it's the fact of the matter I have to get through so much.
How's everyone doing today? The weather was quite nice. It was 20 degrees in camp.
We'll give it another minute. So yeah, you can just chat away. We hear something about you. We have to let you talk for some minute. But
oh no, today's weather wasn't that bad, to be honest.
Any UFOs?
Suspecting. I kind of have suspicions, but that's all.
Suspicious? What do you mean suspicious?
Some nights I'd be looking at the night sky and I think I see one, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's one of the moderators. It's Moonhunters. You often see him in the chat. So yeah, the vote has passed. The vote has passed by 13 votes. So the moderators can now ban Mountain Juju straight after this stream. It comes in an immediate effect. Actually, straight away. It can come in straight away. So you have my permission now, Davey, to ban. He can appeal it. He can appeal it. But the people have voted. The people have spoken. 69% nice. 69%. Let it just be counted that 69% of the people of 13 votes decided to ban, and has been carried. He can appeal. He can appeal to us about it. He has one chance to appeal it, but of course that will go to another vote if necessary. It will be up to the people. It will be put on the community post if he does appeal it. He has because we did appeal. We did say earlier on that he does have the right to appeal if he is banned for one time. Isn't that right, Moonhunters and Davey? But that's it. He only has one right to appeal. So he can appeal it, but he has to kind of write up a reason why we should appeal it, if necessary. And of course, it will be up to the community. We will leave it up to the community on the community post to do it. But he has been banned for the moment. So. But as I say, that's it's unfortunate that it had to come to this, but as I say, it's up to the people. And I suppose we had to take action, especially some of the stuff he said. Not so much about me, but you know. So yeah, anything else to say on that?
Yes, please. Sorry, I was singing to myself there.
Sing to yourself. But do you have anything to say about it?
Happy to see him go. That's all I have to say, really.
So we're happy enough, Dave, in the mods, all the mods. Yeah. Yeah, like there's nothing wrong with his posts to me. Like he's perfectly entitled to do it. It's a free country. There's nothing wrong with his posts. It's a free country, so he's entitled to do it if he wants. It's not so much it's what he said to you and dude, like Devers too. Like I only seen some of the stuff he said the other day because somebody sent it to me. Because I never seen it like underneath your comments. Like I never look at the replies and stuff to other people unless they're tagging me. I never see it. It's I don't know if the new mod here is Alex here or Davey or Moonhunters. Do you know?
I'm actually not there.
Yeah, but he might come in to say hello. No, he might come in later on. We might just bring him in to say hello. Bring him in. But yeah, we won't need it. The mods will say, yeah, but like as I say, he's perfectly entitled to make the videos. There's nothing I can do. It's freedom of speech. He's entitled to it. You know. Yeah, a lot of people did complain about that too. But see, we have the rules now. Like even if he did write an appeal and people did vote to unban him, like he can appeal it. We did a vote earlier on that he can appeal. He still has the right to appeal it. Because we did vote earlier on that somebody has the right to appeal it one time. They have the right to appeal once. But you have to write up an explanation on why we should appeal it. And of course, that will be put to the people. Because it had to be put to the people because especially the sheer level of like things could be. Now, is there any other proposals anybody wants to suggest? Any proposals? Anything you want to suggest, Saoirse? Like, there's a lot of stuff. You are okay, Davey, with everything. But yeah, just for a few seconds, I'd let people just catch their breath for a second because basically we've just been constantly talking for 2 hours. We'll take a bit of a breather for a second. Is that okay with the mods? Just sit for a second.
Yes, sir.
Because we're just constantly talking. So, is there anything anybody wants to suggest? Now is the time. For number one, this is to do with freedom of speech and particularly that. Is there anything anybody wants to suggest? Because I think we've covered a lot. There might be a few things, but we can always review it. Like basically, this is just a total rewrite. Basically, everything has to be totally rewrite. So basically, we'd be here tomorrow and the next day. No, not tomorrow. We'd be here tomorrow talking about some of this stuff too. But this would be to do with other parts of it. Just to we introduced it, etc. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Like some of the stuff were nasty, but I do apologize to you, Saoirse. There was some stuff that was said to you and to Divla too. That was nasty, and we should have done this a long time ago. But the simple thing was that we didn't want, and I suppose the mods too would agree that we didn't want to be banning anybody for anything. That's the last thing we want to do. That's always was said to that we didn't. We never wanted to ban anybody for anything. We just want people to have a discussion, open discussion, freely discuss things. But unfortunately, it was being abused, and that's just the simple reality. It was being abused, and I think everybody can realize that. And I think the mods would agree too that it was being abused.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we did ask him many times. We give him many chances.
One too many.
Yeah. So is there anything anybody wants to propose? Any proposals? Or any proposals from the mods?
Yes. I'm proposing you give Santa Marine your marriage proposal.
Oh, no, we're not doing that now. We're not going that far. Don't do that one. But yeah, no, a lot of people would say we should bring in the law that nobody can criticize Santa Marin. But I don't think so. I think that would be a bit too much of the nose. Now, if somebody does say something bad about it, we will bring it in. Don't worry, I bring it in. I pass an executive order. But the unfortunate thing, we can't pass executive orders because it wasn't given to us. We never looked for that authority back then. See, that's why it was up to the people. Because back when I was in 2020, just to say, we had the option that we were bringing in ourselves, or that the people would vote, and the people decided that they would decide, what goes. And that's what was voted on. Like, literally in 2020, we had all these structures in place that you would decide, not me, what happens, And I think that's the good thing because it's not like us controlling people, I think we allow each and we let them have to back what's stuck on idea of sovereignty for a few minutes, Oh, I didn't see the bit of wearing his daughter name. I didn't see that, but no, that's inappropriate now. Is there anything else? No, Xana's a nice person. Like, she is a nice person. I wouldn't be supporting if I didn't think she was a nice person. Like, believe me, I wouldn't be here like putting pictures up on the wall if I didn't think she was a good person. Like, she is a good person. I can't emphasize that, but she is a nice person. Like, she is really nice, and you know, a lot better than a lot of politicians we have here. But no, we won't bring that in. We won't suggest that, regardless of whatever your opinion is on Xana. As long as somebody's not, like, as I said to you before, somebody did write an overly sexualized thing about Xana a few years ago, like really sexualized, really sexualized stuff, and that wasn't nice. You know, and they brought her daughter into it too, and that wasn't nice to put that in. But we didn't do anything. That comment's still up to this day, unfortunately. Yeah, but still, the people have the right. This is the thing. The people have to say it. Like, these rules have been voted on by the people. So it's not like somebody can pipe to me and say, you know, you're doing that. What do you think we have to do? What do you think all the votes were, Sean? Yeah, we voted on it. There was a vote all. But there's no proposals for number one. Is there anything else now? Just to say anything else. Is there anything else for number one? Because when I'm here, I just want to go through number four. I want to just update number 4, part 4. If people don't have any proposals for part 1. So this is to do with part 4. This is another amendment. So part 4. So this is part 4. This is to do with let me just read this out. So this is the other part. This is part 4 of the Constitution. This is to do with threatening abusive behavior, what I was saying about it. So listen to this for a second. So we already have people that threaten abusive behavior, threaten people's lives, or inappropriate language. But there was never a definition of that. Like, clearly this was meant for threats, people's threats against people's lives. So my proposal is that we will keep a lot of this, and we can add bits to it. That's my proposal. There's people who agree with that. We have a vote on that. But my proposal is that we don't really change that. That we added maybe a few things. But I think like keeping threatening abusive behavior or threats and stuff, I do think that is fair enough. I don't think it really has to be changed number 4, but it's just that we introduce it. What do you think, Moonhunters? We can add in stuff. We can add in a few forces if we want. Enforcement? No. This is number 4 to do with threatening abusive behavior and like basically threatening people's lives, etc. So this is basically just to reintroduce it. Like, basically just because there's a new constitution that cover. No, this is to do with basically threatening people. Like it states pretty much here. Like, this is the only thing it states too, that there should be an outright ban, and rightly so, because there was somebody literally 2 months ago that was threatening somebody, leaked somebody's IP, and threatening to kill people. You know, and we did ban him. He was the first person in years to be banned. Davey would tell you. But we had to ban him because he threatened 3 or 4 people. And he leaked the IP of somebody. I'm not going to say the person. It wasn't me, but he leaked the IP of somebody, and we wouldn't going to tolerate that. Like, basically threatened to go to their house and burn it down, basically. And we couldn't allow that. And then he threatened 3 or 4 other people, just random people. He went and threatened them to find them. He fined them and burned them. So we couldn't allow that. So you can understand why we banned him straight away. There was no. We tried to talk him down. We tried to reason with him for an hour, but he just wouldn't listen to reason. So I propose that we reintroduce this part. Does anybody? So basically, we introduced the part 4 to do with threats. Part 4, threats. Consider that. No, like, this was his full-on address. This person's full-on address. They got it from a court summons on the newspaper. Like, this was a full-on address. But basically, he was suggesting people should go, or he was saying he would go to that's the context behind it. And I do have the screenshot and stuff, but the moderators, me, decided, and we were saying, no, we won't tolerate this. Because he was threatening me. He was threatening to find me and burn me and kill me. But I didn't care about that. I could have went to the guards and complained, but I didn't care, but it was more the other people. He was threatening to get other people. And one of them had children, etc. So I wasn't going to tolerate that. Even if he's just making empty threats, I wasn't going to tolerate it.
Yeah.
No, don't do that now. Don't be doing that. You might get banned, so don't do that. Part 4, Trenton and to we introduce. How do you spell we introduce? Like to we, what would you say we introduce?
That should be R-E.
Yeah,
I-N. T-R-O.
T-O-O.
And then D-U-C-E.
O-E-I-N-T-O-T-O-O. Oh, I have it. Sorry. Thanks, Gordon. Gordon's telling me more than you're telling me, moderator. Disgraceful. You have to sack him. I'm only joking. We'll not do that. We're good friends. Part 4, Trend and Abuse Field. We introduce the part. We can add bits onto it. So, Tá O'Neill. So, this is to do with, just to say, does anybody need an explanation of what exactly is? This is to do with Trend and abusive behavior. I know we're skipping 2 and 3, but I just want to introduce this. I don't think this needs to be done. Hello, Sarah. Yeah, sorry, there's too much going on at the moment. Yeah, well, we've been posting info, but the only thing I would say, we have to add Doxon. Doxon's not in this, but Trenton and Abuse Behavior is. But I would assume we were folding in the second too. So this is to do basically just we introduced this bit to do with threats and violence, etc. What is that? So is that okay? We add Doxon into it, but we won't add like post information. Well, of course, people shouldn't be leaking post information, but I suppose it's not so much the rest of me, because basically all my information is public. Like, it's very hard. It's very easy to find me. In terms of that, like if somebody was willing to threaten me or to kill me or to do anything, it's very, very easy to find me. And that's what you do when you put yourself out in public. You're going to be attacked and you're going to be threatened, etc., etc. That's just the simple reality of life. There's nothing that anybody can do about it. But yeah, so this is the we introduce part 4. I know we skipped 2. We'll go back to them tomorrow, but this is part 4. We will add Doxon probably into it. We'll vote in a second. So this is to do with threat and abuse behavior, or inappropriate language. What I mean by inappropriate language, the N-word, etc. That's specifically what was put into number 4, just to say the N-word, because the N-word is not allowed on YouTube, and probably shouldn't be uttered in the public comment section too. So that's why that's there. But we will vote on other amendments. We can put amendments to that. But this is just that we introduce that into the new constitution. There will be, the other things have to be voted on in terms of, take for example, number 7 is talking about I cannot take money from people. There's no donations or anything. That has to be reintroduced tomorrow, etc. And other parts of it have to be reintroduced. Because it's an entirely new constitution, basically. Like it's all just been torn up from the top. Yeah, we have to vote on that now in a second. We'll vote on that in a second, but I think that would post. Yeah, you've sent me a triangle. It's fucking huge, John. Like, where do you think I'm going to put this? Like, I will put that on in a second. When it gets darker, we'll put it on. It's nice when it's lit up. But you probably won't see it with the window, but it can close the blinds. But, so I propose, yeah. So number 4. So, Davey, number 4 can stay the same, like pretty much the same writing. So this is number 4 now, David. This is not number 1. This is to do with number 4. But we will add Doxon now in a second to it. Doxing people's addresses, but that's pretty much it is like threatening. That's pretty much, but we will add it as thing. But doxing, like he was pretty much banned for doxing because he did post their address, not my address, but somebody else's address. You have no issue with that, Davey or Moonhunters?
No, sir.
So this is to do with doxing. So it doesn't specifically say doxing, but it kind of goes under threat and abusive behavior. The 1918, no, it was 1918, OJ, the Russian Revolution. Yeah, it was 1918, yeah, wasn't it? Oh, 1917, yeah. Yeah. So this is to do with people who vote this, but I assume people who vote in favour of this. I don't mean to be biased, but yeah. Should doxing be added to number 4? So specifically, it'd be added on to threat and abusive language, basically, to that part. So doxing. Was it? It might design 1917, 1918. Yeah. Sure, the mods can see it. Yeah, so I think it's pretty resounding that you're doxing it. But that person was banned a few months ago for that, mainly because it wasn't me. Clearly I don't want people doxing my address or anything. But as I say, it's very easy to get me. You fix which one? Sorry, come again. I'd say I'm not paying much attention to that. Sworn at in chat. See, this is the thing, being sworn at like bad language. I don't know about that one, Saoirse, because it's Irish people. You have to remember, Irish people be like that all the time. So I don't think so, Saoirse. I don't know, but we could vote on it, but I don't think so. That'd be hard to we'd be enforcing it all the time, basically. So I don't know. I don't think so. I hate it. I don't think we should. I think I'm making the second decision now, and I don't know. But literally, just like some say, "Fuck's sake," for fuck's sake, in the kind even in funny context, Well, not necessarily, because pretty much threatening and abuse was like the N word. That's pretty much what it was deemed as, or threatening to find somebody. That's pretty much what that was the context of. But no surprise, the vote has been passed. Tall 11 votes overwhelmingly passed. Yeah, so I don't think so, Station. I hate to say it, but I don't think so. If it's in a very bad context, we can look at it, yes. But but so you can add on to number 4 doxing, amendment to number 4 doxing. So pretty much the amendment will be for addresses or take for example where somebody works, doxing somebody's workplace. Now everybody knows where I work, so I'm only there for another 2 weeks anyway. So, but you get what I'm saying. So if we're only members of the public too, that they shouldn't be doxed. I think that should be added in, along with the number 4. Was there any other things anybody wants to add to number 4? Anything Moonhunters or Davy? Which is acceptable, like Corson and stuff. Like we couldn't really ban Corson because we would be here banning people all the time, But actually, the thing I had to propose, yeah, just go on. Sorry, Moonhunt. Sorry.
No.
So I know this sounds stupid, but this is to do with number 4, just again, and so this to do with any breaches in number 4. Sorry, Saoirse. Moderators, what did Saoirse say? Sorry, because I can't see it here because I'm writing the poll. What did she say there? Which is acceptable? What exactly? I can't see my screen because I have my thing open, so I can't see my screen. But what exactly? Can the mods look into that? Just whatever it is. Sorry, because I just can't see because I'm writing the poll at the moment. So, can anybody see the mods? Any of the mods? No. Can you see Moonhunters there just to see what she's saying?
Actually, can't because my PC just disconnected though.
Mighty.
A few minutes ago.
Davey, can you look, please? But like Corson and stuff, we couldn't really stop that, if that's what you're asking. Sorry, I can't see at the moment because I'm waiting. But this is to do with part 4. So, see, I should have my other tab, computer open with the comments and stuff I could see. But part 4. That's a good point, Saoirse. Whatever about maybe a cunt? I know that sounds awful to say, but I think it would be particularly when it comes to whore. And I know it's awful words to say, but I think that would be classified under the other thing that we voted on earlier on, wouldn't it, Davey and Moonhunters?
The ones what, a whore?
Yeah, I do think that should be classified with particularly the one for women. We have a rule for women, just to say, Saoirse. We have a special rule for women. Women are very looked after here nowadays. I do think that should probably be added in. So, Dave, you can add that in. I don't think we vote on it. There's no need probably to vote. I think it's fair enough, specifically when it was referring to a woman. If somebody's referring specifically to a woman, that it would be removed and there would be a strike added, that it would be a 3 strike. Yeah, I do think that should be added to number 1, and particularly to the women's part. The women's bit, yeah. But protecting women. For the women, yeah. But I do think that's, yeah. But I don't know about cunt. People can use that now. I think that's fair enough. I think that cunt would be fine. because you Australian people, as you just said, Australian people, Irish people do use it too. So, I don't think it would be fair. So, but I do think Coho is a very, because I've seen people say that about Santa Marin and stuff, and sometimes awful context, like really awful context, and I don't think it's appropriate to say to a woman. What about a man, maybe? But usually, majority of people use to refer to a woman and stuff. Mr. Boston wouldn't know he's banned. He's not allowed. We'll move the comment. So this is to do, I know this sounds stupid, but this is to do with part 4. And what exactly we should do if somebody breaches threat and abusive behavior. Now, I would say we should obviously keep, at the moment it's outright ban. Pretty much this part here, there's no negotiations. If you threaten somebody, like to find somebody, to kill somebody, you probably should be outright banned. Or if you threaten, say, for example, violence, so to kill somebody or to burn their house, went that. Or dock somebody. I do think it should be now white ban, but again, it's up to people what to do. If it's in, I don't know. But I think everybody would agree it should be now white ban, but just to have it in stone. I know it sounds stupid, it's an absolute stupid thing to say, but just so we can put it down, saying, yeah, it's 100% we can now white ban it. So yeah, that's to do with part 4. This is to do with threat and abusive behavior. Or the other options, remove the comment. It's entirely up to you. But I would say it should be now white ban. If somebody's leaking somebody's IP and stuff, we should probably ban them. But yeah.
I will be honest though. If any of this happened on Twitch, it would be quite an instant ban.
Yeah, it probably would. Yeah. But this the thing is different. I suppose YouTube maybe would ban it, but I don't know. But
yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it's fine. I think everybody could agree with that, Sasha. That's okay to say con. No, not my info, but I said about somebody else. This is about 2 months ago. Somebody docked somebody else, like in my channel and stuff. That's more or less to protect people from that. Not so much myself and stuff, but Yeah, we should have probably added the 3, but I think it's fair. Like, it's either remove the comment or outright ban, because this is very serious stuff, particularly when it comes to this. These are threats of violence, threatening to kill. This is different than freedom of speech. You get what I'm saying? This is a bit different, Greenface. I don't think the 3-step rule would apply here, because it's extremely, this is extremely serious stuff. This part. So that's why I'm suggesting that we don't change it, because the only thing that was added in is doxing, because it did say threatening inappropriate language. Which technically, because that's what we banned the post under, because we argued that it was that. But yeah, so the people, so it's already a ban, so it's been reinforced. Just to say, so you can add that back in, David. That it's still the same. So basically, if anybody breaks number 4, pretty much, that you'll be pretty much outright banned straight away. And this is to do with leaking people's IPs or addresses. Or abusive threats of violence, killing, etc. Or rape, even this includes rape too. Just add in the rape bit, yeah. Just add in the rape bit too, that this straight away will be an outright ban. Yeah, the cut, like how the word is used, but I suppose we might as well become the talk police at that stage. If we're going to go after that, but we can look at it. If it ever does arise, we can look at it, But I'm more of like the whole world. I'm more inclined to ban it. You get what I'm saying? Like, because we could sit here and be the top. We've been enforcing it all the time, basically. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, but we can't really, like, we will do our best. But it all depends on what we see. Basically, if we see it, we can deal with it then. We can revise the constitution and look at it. Yeah, but we do have the word whore, but I won't add in cunt. If it ever becomes an issue, we can add it in. If it ever becomes an issue, we will look at it. But at the moment, I don't think so. I don't think so, because we couldn't just, we'd be enforcing it all the time, pretty much. No, it's not happening. Yeah, of course, yeah. But as I say, these rules will sort out a lot of issues. What I'm saying. Like, hopefully, they won't be need to be enforced. Like, a lot of them won't be need to be enforced. But we do have a 3-strike rule for a lot of it. So a lot of people will, like, it won't be straight away a ban. It's only for the most serious stuff will be straight out bans. So number 4, is there anything else anybody wants that for number 4? Now, I know about the cunt bit. I don't really want to add that in, to be totally honest. Usually would vote on it, but I don't think so, because I do think it would just take, it would be all the time, like, getting people, you know. So does anybody have anything else to say about number 4, part 4?
I think we're decent there.
Does anybody else? This is the time. So this is to do with threats and stuff. We have docs and we have threats of violence, threats to kill, etc. Is there anything else? The other thing I want to propose, just if anybody else has any other time, the other thing I want to propose is to do with ban evasions. As we talked about earlier on, only talk about that now, ban evasions. What do you take, Moonhut?
Banning what?
Ban evasions. So say, for example, somebody gets banned from the channel, right? And they make a new account. Do you get me?
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, but we have to prove there's the person. So how can we prove it? Yeah, but we won't do it straight away. We won't do it straight away because we have to amend the rest of the rules. But basically, for the moment, it won't come into, like, the majority of rules won't come into this live stream's end. But we will kind of give people a little leeway for the moment. Not much, but a little. Until the rules, everything's passed, basically. Until everything's gone through, which will take another week or two. But still will be enforced. A lot of these rules still will be enforced. It won't be as hard maybe the first 2 weeks. But after that, we're going to just be straight away enforcement. But it'll be enforced straight away since that, because we probably will maybe post, if Davies has all the things done up, we will probably post what we have maybe at the moment. But we will be a bit light for just a few weeks until we get it all passed, because everything else has to be passed. Like, this is only 2 amendments. Like, we only literally have part 1 and part 4. There's 8 to go through, and there's probably more to be added. So just to say, this is going to take 2 weeks. Just to say, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And we'll be here tomorrow night talking. But we're not all stream tomorrow night, but we spend an hour doing it tomorrow night too. Try and get through number 2 and number 3. But we have another bit to go through. So this is to do with ban evasions. I'll move this over. If I put it in, that'd be nice. It'll fit. It might not fit. It might not reach. So there we are. Lovely. You can see that. And I can't see with the fucking light. What would that look if I turned off the light? It looks weird. See, you can't see. You can see the big glowing light, but you can't see. It's unfortunate. If I could move it closer, you could see it a lot more. But we'll leave it on for the moment. It's very unfortunate. There's a bit of natural light, you would say. See, if I could get it here, we could be in business. Actually, that might be the thing. Give me a second. Oh. So, anything else, Moonhut, does you want to say?
Not really.
Where was it? If I put it here, maybe. Oh. See, is it
sorry, he said nothing really.
Oh, yeah, no. They look a bit better. It looks like this defied. So we'll leave it on there. Hello, Sergio. How are you doing? Yeah, it needs complete darkness, yeah. It's unfortunate, but you couldn't do the live stream of that. And a complete darkness and stuff. It's a pity, but yeah, I can go there for the moment. It won't be always there, but because it's a nuisance, because I need to get things out and stuff. Yeah, but you won't see me. That's the problem. You won't see me. You won't see anything. Yeah, but that is true. But I suppose, how would you know the person, say, for example, has an illness and stuff? Like, how could you prove it? Like, somebody could say, sure, take what's happened, just out of argument's sake. No, somebody could say, for argument's sake, take for example, that, I'm an something, take for example, like I have Tourette's or something, and I can just say fuck. Do you get my point? We have no proof of that. But yeah, I don't know how we could vote on it. Yeah, we can vote on it if you want, Sasha. We can vote on it. But then people could just call Wolf, and just make up back and say, "Oh, I'm such and such," and to get out of stuff and stuff. You get what I'm saying? If I move maybe a bit forward, no, you still can't see it. It's like you can kind of see it. See, unless I have it literally up to there, I can't hold it here all day, Sean. I'm not that good. So you can kind of see it, but it's just a nuisance, just the way the camera is and stuff. But I leave it there for the moment. I leave it on for the moment. Try not to knock it. See, there's nowhere to hang it up. That's the problem. It fucking flies. But so this to do with ban evasions, right? Are you still okay with everything, Davey? Because we probably will post it later on if you have a list of stuff that temporary, like not just these things we went through. How do you spell evasion? Oh, you're still there. Oh, thanks, Davey. Davey was before you. Davey got to before you. Should it be? But this is the thing. This will be the added clause, ban evasions, if we find. We had to find proof of it. Because we can't really just go on a whiff. You get me? Because we could just fucking ban everybody, saying everybody's a spy, a Russian spy, or whatever. Or just what was it? Outright ban or what else would you do? An outright ban or say somebody's ban invading. Down the phone. I don't know between and the phone. But what would you say is Moonhot does? Oh, he's muted. You're back.
Which one again? Sorry, I was just.
Yeah, no, that's not 100%. No, but ban evasion. So, what would you say? An outright ban, or what else would you say?
What's this for again?
Ban evasions. You know the way I was saying about people making accounts.
Oh yeah, well, if they're found that to be using an alternate account, then they should just have the same punishment, I guess.
I don't know what else you could do. Like remove comments, I suppose. So
yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
There's nothing really. I don't really know. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. Sorry there.
No, I was going to say like YouTube only gives you like an outright ban or remove the comments or time them out in live streams. Like they don't really give you an option.
I think it just depends on what happened to the original accounts that the person was using, and then if you find that if they're using a secondary account, you just do the same thing as what was done before.
Reasonable enough, but yeah. So that would be added into probably number 1, more than number 4. So added into number 1, Davey. I don't understand it. What do you mean? Oh, so say for example you were banned, right? Like you can appeal it once. You can appeal it once, but you have to stay banned if you're banned until the appeal goes through. Be considered donating. That's for different things here. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll get to that one tomorrow because that's to do with part 7. And that's a totally different thing. We'll go through the whole with us. But pretty much I would still say to bring in the thing that it says pretty much I read it out for you now. They're not to take any money whatsoever in support and donations, PayPal stuff. There is an exception for charity events. If we were doing a charity event, there was an exception for that. But there's no kind of like PayPals for personal use. That's what we have. There'll be no donations, basically. The same for any goods or services, etc. For my upkeep, in terms of that, it'll be up to me. What are we voting on now? Like specifically right now, ban evasions. Like say for example, say if I ban you tomorrow, say I have enough of you, I just ban you, and you can appeal it, of course, for the first time. But say if you made another account and came into the channel and you've done the same thing again, you know. Oh, I thought Gordon was banned. No, you only tracked it. Sorry, I thought you were gone already. I thought somebody got you already. Yeah, that's because Sean didn't fucking tell me. Excuse me, but he didn't tell me. Disgraceful. We have to get you up to Monaghan now, Sean, for some of these things from Finland in Monaghan. Because I'll be stuck up there for the next. Say again, for the ban evasion, you like say, for example, if I ban you now and you make another account, if we find proof, say, for example, this is Seisho under, I don't know, Normal Foley 2.0, right? Say that's your new YouTube account name. We could ban you, no, because you ban evaded. You know, we banned you and you didn't appeal it and you made another account to come in. You know, to do the same thing again, basically, what I'm trying to say. Do you get me? Just so you know what you're voting on. Is everybody clear on that? Because we actually meant to vote on that earlier on, but I forgot all about it because we're too busy on about other stuff. See, there's a lot of stuff to go through. There's an insane amount of stuff. There's probably more stuff. Like, we can always amend it. Like, this is just the total amendments. But there'll be other amendments. If people propose other legislation, no, not legislation, but other amendments, that's what we call it, amendments. We can add it in at some stage. I just leave it for another 2 seconds while I just do something. Vote done. So I take the vote has passed. The vote is passed. So an outright ban. So add that into number 1 now, Davey. So that'll be obviously we have to have proof with the except we obviously put in 2 along with proof because we can't just say somebody is unless we have proof. Unless we have definitive proof this is the same person, which would be hard to prove, but we added in anyway. Jesus, I might poor throat. I've been constantly just talking constantly. Anything to add, Moonhunter side or Davey anyway? 9. Great. Yeah, Sanders, yeah, fantasy. But is there anything anybody wants to propose? And now I know Saoirse was saying earlier on, there's people want to vote on that in terms of if somebody has a special need, and we can confirm it. But the other thing is, we would have to know, basically, we would have to know that person is, say, for example, has autism. Take, for example, somebody has autism and somebody makes fun of their autism. You know, we would have to know if the person, you know, if the person has autism, you get what I'm saying. So are we happy to vote on that? Do you think we should vote on that, Davey? And Moonhunter, sorry.
I'd say I agree with Saoirse, honestly.
Get the approval of that. Oh, so we had to vote on it. So you think we should vote on it?
Yeah, I'd say go ahead.
But the only thing is about proof. We need proof because anybody could say they're autistic and, you know, collecting data. So. No, yeah. So you say David too, yeah. So, but we have to have evidence. Like we would have to know in advance that the person is. Like we know a few people that, like take for example, I don't mean to scapegoat Aaron Brady, but we know Aaron Brady has autism. If he ever was in here, Aaron Brady hasn't been here in donkey's years. But take for example, if somebody was saying to Aaron Brady, you're only an autistic, you know, such and such. Like we need to know. We know Aaron Hawken. Does people know Aaron Hawken too? He has autism. So, you know, we know that, so we won't let people make fun of him for that and stuff. But I do think it should just be a three strike where we shouldn't just outright ban the person. We should just maybe even remove the comments up to this. We have the same. We have to vote on it. So we say about how will we phrase this?
Oh no!
Jesus, you're dying.
Yeah, it's blocked and itchy.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know how. I might be spelling special. How do you spell with a need? With I can't spell. I tell you. Special needs. SP, yeah. Yes, EC. Sorry, EC one. IL. Yeah, special needs. Yeah, have it. Do we speak? What? Make fun of people with special needs. if I suppose what I'm phrase to that, should we do anything? So yeah, let's just say should we, and then we ask the question, what should we do after that? Yeah. So this is the do should we, but we have to have proof, of course, because we can't unfortunately take people on their word. We can trust some people, of course, the regulars and stuff. But say, for example, some random person comes in and says, "Oh, I'm such and such," you get what I'm saying. But we trust the regular people, of course. If they say, I'm such and such. Oh my God, I'll put something more. So this is to do with people with special needs. So we make it something we can fold. If it's folded down, then we don't need to enforce it. But this is to do with basically enforcement. We talk about what needs to be done afterward. If it's just removing the comments, warning them, etc. So this is basically asking, should there be a rule made for making fun of people with special needs? So that's to do with, say, for example, somebody's disabled or something like that. Something like that. And also tall means yes and Neil means no. So what do you think should be the punishment? Say, for example, we did find out somebody was autistic. Should we remove their comments? I don't think it should be an outright ban straight away. But I also would propose to people, if it does go through, that we would issue a warning for the first time. And then after that, we would enforce, particularly for this, because sometimes people wouldn't know, say, for example. What do you think, Moonhot does?
Yeah, I think we got strikes again, to be honest.
So you think we should strike? But then people would argue, we didn't know such and such,
Maybe converse with them. I don't know.
So just go to the. But yeah, I suppose that's a.
Ask them a simple question: do you like trains?
Do you like trains? Yes. I think everybody would say yes. Trains are cool. So yeah, I'll give another minute to vote. But we suppose so. We have to go to the other amendment to it. So this would be added to number making fun. Yes, so basically making a joke of them or making little of them. I would say we can add it into. So probably the best thing just to say for this part, Dave, is making little. That would be the best thing. Making fun, making little, the same thing. Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Making fun. Yeah, but it's the definition. That's what we're still saying, making fun of people with special needs. Yeah. Like, of course, I'm excluded from that. Just to say, people can make fun of me with dyslexia, etc. There's no that be excluded. I'd be excluded. It's just for other people. So it will apply to me basically. People can insult me for my spelling and stuff. That's perfectly fine. And of course, if people can insult people for spelling and stuff, but So the vote has passed. Vote all has passed. So now we go to the amendment to pass to see what would be the actions. Isn't needed. So we'll move the comment. So move the comment. Say, for example, if they said something about somebody with disabilities, they will move it. But I would be against banning the person, just to say. I don't think it should be an outright ban straight away. If they consistently do it, yeah. But I don't think straight away, to be totally honest with you. Ban the person. No, which voting with, sorry, the other thing. Oh shit! Sorry, I probably was a bit too quick. See, I usually give it about 2 minutes. But yeah, unfortunately, it was passed. I think we had enough votes anyway to pass. We can do it again if people want to, but I think it was passed anyway. I think it had enough votes to pass anyway. So this is to do with action, to do with particularly the last amendment, to do with particularly if people with, say, for example, special need. What should we do? Say, for example, somebody said something bad to them, say, for example, or made fun of the disability. So the options are remove the comment, ban the person, warn the person, or the 3-strike rule. So there you go. We have 4 options here. Bigger poll for this. Yeah, so the thing I would just say straight away, just try and vote, because we usually give it about 2 minutes. I would just say to people, yeah, there's a poll going on at the moment. So this is to do with people with special needs. Now, of course, some people wouldn't know. So I would say we should warn the person first and then go to enforcement action afterward. But of course, we need to know the person has a special need or has a disability. We need to know that. You know, anything to say on that, we're not us.
Oh, sorry. I sound that the whole time there. Oh, shit.
Yeah, pretty much in the disability too, but we counted in the same thing. Obviously, I'm excluded.
Yeah,
I'm excluded. So, which come again, sorry?
Just completely sound that. I'm sorry.
it's a lot of white, and it's nearly 2 hours totally. Yeah, fucking constantly just yeah. But yeah, and it's not finished, but it's going to take another week or two before we get through all of it. So it must have been about nearly 30 votes at this stage. I'll give it another minute. We have 1 more minute to vote on this, just to say to people. I know I'm probably being a bit too quick, because see, if we stayed here all day, we would never get it done. We should do mail-in ballots. That'd be handy. Just to say, anybody who hasn't voted, do vote. If anybody's confused, do let me know just before we start the votes or anything. But usually I explain it as much as I can. Yeah, because they do take it bad. But of course, I'm excluding this, so it won't count to me. We review it every year. Jesus, you're mad. This isn't the but we can review it if people want to review it. If somebody wants to add something in, we can vote on it. But we won't review it every year because it would be insane. We'd be here for months. Like it would take. Like this one's going to be bigger than the last one. Like there's definitely going to be other things added. So we couldn't do it every year. Like I think what we have at the moment would last for nearly 3 or 4 years before we have to look at it. Also, the vote is passed. The vote is passed. Remove the comment. Yearly review. Well, we kind of could go, but we're not going through the whole lot. But we could do it. But I suppose we had to vote on that too. How should it be amended? Should it be a vote taken to do? We have to talk about that because that was never done in the other constitution too. So it has passed. So Dave, you can add that in as an amendment to number 4 and number 1 too. To do with people with special needs, to see, to remove the comment of a person that is abusing them or even making fun of them in a disrespectful manner. I would add that into number 4 if you could, please. And I think that's fair enough. Remove it, but we will add the strike just to say to that too. We will add it. Well, no, actually, no, we won't. We will remove it once. We will remove the comment once from the person, thinking maybe that they don't know. But after that, if they consistently do, we will add strikes. I think that's fair enough for that. And we will kind of warn them too, maybe, in that regard too. We'll be a bit more tolerant on that because sometimes people might not know. So which I think is fair all around. So this to do with, so he's what to propose the yearly review to this. So this would be, I don't know what it would be added to. So this can be just separate, Davey, at the bottom in the terms and conditions, kind of, to do with a yearly review. What would you propose, just to say to anybody? Hold a meeting. Yeah, the whole meeting, yeah. But see, you know, ideally people could be able to come on and speak about different things, but it would be too much. They would be mad in the head for that time. So this to do with a yearly review or a year. Yeah, well, how would we propose it? So yeah, this is to do with review of the rules. Like personally, of so this is just not to do with any part of the Constitution. This is to do with the review of it. So this is a bit different now. So this is to do if to vote on it. Oh. Yearly review. So the two things we have here. Sorry, I just add one more thing. So the other thing is every few years, because obviously the last time was 2020, the last time that this was ever open to look at, to review it. So there's three answers. So there's a vote with a number of people. So say for example, say 10 people decide to vote, or somebody calls a vote, probably in the community tab, to amend the Constitution. If there's a number of people, say there's 10 people that decide to vote, we will allow that. And then, of course, there's the yearly review in every few years. What I mean by every few years, maybe, I would say maybe every 2 years we look at it, if people want that. It's up to you. But of course, if there's serious breaches and stuff, we can revise it. But this is to do with this is not to do with any section of the rules. This is to do with the terms and conditions. So yeah, there's a folk tale going on at the moment. What do you think about that, Moonhunters? Mandan.
Yeah, not really. I kind of disagree.
What do you mean, disagree?
No, I just agree, sorry.
Disagree? No, well, if you disagree with it, let me know.
No.
No, like, no, this is not dictatorship. Like, if you have any worries or concerns about it, do let me know.
No, I agree.
Oh, what do you agree with? Which do you agree with?
What you were saying there?
And what was I saying?
To be honest, I don't know, man. I can't even fucking think straight.
Yeah, I was thinking that. But no, that's fine. I know it's been a long conversation. As I said to you before, and I said it to Davey, this is what takes a long time because everything has to be voted on, everything has to be talked about, and you know it's a lot of stuff. But that's democracy. Oh, jeez, we had a tie. Jesus, no, we're going to be here all night. Then we're talking about this now. So you do vote.
What was that vote on there?
This is to do with the review of the channel. So basically, this is to do with we do this every year to look at them again, or only when people ask to look at them. So basically, do you know what we're doing now? So basically, if we have to look at the rules again, is it every year or so when people ask to look at them? Just to say we're 50-50 at the moment on the votes. So please do have a look at it now, anybody. We will keep it going for another few minutes, just because people are kind of a bit divided on it.
Okay.
But I suppose then we had to come up with a date. So it would be probably around this time every year in August. If it was a yearly review, it would be around August, I say we should do it. Not so when in August, probably mid-August. If we were going to do it that way, it would be, because we couldn't do it at the beginning of the year. Say near the end of the year would have to be done. Unless the serious breaches. If there's something serious, we will look at it. Sorry, I'm not talking about a lot of stuff. I'm not like talking too much about the chat and stuff. I would give it a few minutes just to say to people who haven't voted yet, there's a poll and it's very close just to say. So anybody wants to vote, just to make sure, just to be fair with people, if anybody wants to vote, because this is an important thing. Because it'll be literally every once a year there will be a stream like this, where we have to go through the whole wingers again, basically to make sure everybody's happy, and there's no amendments. I consider the vote all to be passed. I consider a yearly review to be the answer to this vote. So the vote is passed. We'll give it an extra few minutes there usually than we do. So yeah, the yearly review has been posted on there. Just to say too, that's Saoirse's idea. Please do write that down too if you can. It's Saoirse's amendment to it that once a year will be done in probably around mid-August, if that's fair enough. Whatever, everybody happy with mid-August. Are we satisfied with mid-August? So once a year we will do a live stream where we go through all the rules and talk about it. Yes, this time next August we have a look at it. Less is needed. Well, mid-August. Is that fair enough? Every mid-August we will have to give up a stream to look at them. Probably most likely in a weekend too. So we're happy enough. But most likely just put down Davey mid-August, just so we don't have a date, but we look at. So is there any other amendments or anything anybody wants to pass? Or any other suggestions or anything? Please do let me know. Now's the time to let us know. We will be probably back tomorrow to talk about something. We won't be as long. We'll only take about an hour tomorrow. Because the amendments that we have to vote on is pretty not much going to change. And this is to do with financial stuff, particularly. And number 2 and number 3, which could be summed up a bit better. And this number 2 particularly is to do with the rights of the people of Ireland, and particularly much to respect people's rights of Ireland, not to talk down to them or make fun of them or anything. This is for my personal thing in terms of interaction with the public. We will look at that number 2. Number 3 is about standing up for communities and standing up for the fairness of communities, and not to live and feel like not to be afraid to speak for communities and to say like pretty much down that line. So pretty much, unless there's amendments, just to say if there's amendments for number 1 and number 4, now is the time to tell me. Is that fair enough to anybody? Because if not, then Davey can send me on what he has at the moment. Yeah, well, that's not really in the Constitution, because that's kind of somebody's own personal thing. If they want to stand up for somebody, we can't really tell somebody will ban you if you don't stand up for the person, so we can't really do that. That's more for me. Like number 2 and number 3 just should be passed straight away. All this voting, it must be about 30 to 40 votes that were taken tonight. But as I said, this is why I wanted to kind of fight it, because I think Paul Moonhunt is here has fallen asleep.
I just can't concentrate, to be honest. I am tired. I just can't concentrate.
Oh, I know. It's a lot of yap. It's a lot of political yap. I understand. I would be the same. But this is only a small. No, this is not even half of it. This is only about maybe 20% of it. And there's so much added. That's what I'm saying, because it was very vague at the moment. That's why I was always arguing with you, because it was very vague. And specifically with all the stuff that's happened over the last few months, it had to be very defined. Like it's pretty much very defined. There's maybe a few exceptions that we didn't think about, because we probably should be spending longer talking about each one. But it's the fact of the matter, I think people would go mad. Yeah, but that's more somebody's personal things here, I suppose. You get what I'm saying? We couldn't really ban somebody for not taking up for somebody. You get what I'm saying? Like it wouldn't be at that stage we might as well go and cook their dinner and stuff. Go home and cook their dinner for them and stuff. You get what I'm saying? That's not really what we should be doing, because we're not the government. We can't be telling them you must take up for this person. It would be probably irresponsible, because at the end of the day, it's up to the person's own ability. But But is there anything else now? Just let you know, because number 1 and number 4, because tomorrow we'll probably be working on number 2 and number 3 and number 7. And number 6 probably can be left for another day. Number 5 probably have to be looked at. And number 5 is pretty much the same as this, but this is to do with the Irish Constitution. Now, we can't amend the Irish Constitution. But we have to look at it. We have to be added a few words to it to save the Constitution. But even the cowardice too, we can't really do anything about cowardice. We all can afraid of something. We all live in fear of something. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, is there anything else? Any other things you want to talk about? Moonhunters in general too? I think that's probably all the constitutional amendments for tonight. We'll chat for a few more minutes. How does that sound? Just among ourselves, how does that sound? And you can ask any questions or anything. Is there any? Yeah. Shall we go on?
I'm not sure I even have much to say, to be honest.
Like anything in general, but UFOs or anything.
Not much at all.
Yeah, but just ask Davey. Does Davey have all that? I know it's a lot of stuff, Davey, but you have all that we post on the community post at the end of the stream. Like, it's not the full thing. We'll be back tomorrow to do more. But hopefully it'll be only an hour. Like, this is the hard bits in terms of freedom of speech and stuff to define and stuff. But we have to add different subsections. We have to add number 1, number 2, and 2. Yeah, but see, this is the thing. We had no power. Like, this is we finally have the power to do something about these things. But beforehand, we had no authority to do it. Yeah, we can leave it to tomorrow, Dave, if you just wish to go over it. Because I probably should have been taking notes and stuff, but you're more better at spelling and stuff than me. But I appreciate, David. We appreciate you doing that. And we appreciate Moonhunters for being here. I know it's I knew it was going to be very long. I don't think you believe me, but it would have been long. Because everything has to be voted on. Everything has to be talked about, discussed. Like, we didn't discuss it hugely. We could have spent longer discussing things. Like, by right, it should be 6 or 7 hours. It should have been 6 or 7 hours. Authority, yeah, we didn't have the authority. Like, the Constitution didn't allow us to do anything, but unless somebody was threatening somebody or unless somebody was spamming something, that's the only time we had the authority to do anything, Sasha. So that's what I said. Like, we changed that now. We have the authority to do things, because you have to remember the authority in terms of what the Constitution says, that the authorities invest in the people that watch the channel, that the people of the channel have the authority to tell us what to do, basically. Now, we're not willing to tell us what to do, but to tell us what they want to see happen, etc. That's the whole idea. Oh, I know, but this is the thing. But back when the Constitution was written, as I said to you before, the first thing, even the Constitution now, it says about freedom of speech, and even the fifth part of it, it says about upholding the Constitution of Ireland, which basically enshrines in the Constitution that no man has the right to take somebody's speech. And that's the problem we were having. We couldn't do that. Still, number 5 is in place at the moment, but number 1 has been changed a good bit with definitions. Of course, the freedom of speech element is still there, but of course, there's a few exceptions to it. That can't be reviewed, of course. It's not like it's set in stone. It can't be reviewed. It can be reviewed once a year. But I do think they were necessary. Unfortunately, they were necessary. For years, as I say, from 2020, this is the only time. How long is 2020? How many years ago is that? Moonhunters. Man down.
Yeah, about 6 years ago.
6, 7. But yeah. About 6 years ago. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 6 years ago. And not like it was never looked at in 6 years. And I think it's a good thing that wasn't looked at because we never needed it. But it was only the last few months that was tested, for next year. But it won't be maybe around this. It might be mid-August. Not now, but maybe mid-August. We still have to work that out. It's pretty much whenever the mods will be free too. But it'd be pretty much very simple. There might be only small amendments. Like, this is a total rewrite. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a total rewrite. What are you saying, Casa? Pull the wire off yourself again. Excuse me? What are you saying about Sandown? He did damage, yeah. But see, that's your channel. I suppose your channel. But see, the whole thing about the decision, this is the thing I'm trying to emphasize, that people voted in 2020. Like, say if I went ahead and just banned him, just because, again, at the end of the day, he technically wasn't breaking into the channel. I know that sounds insane, but technically he wasn't. breaking the Channel rules, like with the old constitution. But now he is. If he came back, say if he does lodge appeal, because he can appeal it. But as I said earlier on, it would be up to me and the moderators to decide it. Or maybe even the public even to disagree. We will do another vote on it. We would ask people what should we do. But yeah. You go on Greenface. Thank you for being here. I know it's been a long stream. Thank you. Appreciate it. But no, don't be so anti-Santa Marin, Castillo. We will bring an amendment to stop that. We will make sure that you will bring anti-Santa Marin. But no, just know that I wouldn't be promoting her if I didn't think she was a nice person, a good person. Just know that, because there's very few politicians I'm taking up for. So just know that very simply, that it's not that, anything else. Get the nation of it. But it probably should have been a lot more people here. But there was a lot of people here at the beginning. A lot of people probably lost the will to live halfway through it. Because it is just a lot of stuff. Like, it's just a wall. I would just stick to water. But it's just a wall of text. Like, it's literally just a wall, like me just firing stuff at you. Because, it is. But, But it's not. That's not all of it. This is going to go on for another week. Like, definitely another week. But tomorrow won't be so bad because we have our normal stream. Along with a bit. Michael D, I should come back from retirement. But the other thing I just say, the last thing I say, is I know some people suggested that people should decide who's banned, etc. Only for this occasion we would do that. We were not. He's retired. He's fully retired. He's nearly 90 at this stage. But you get what I'm saying. I think it should be up to the moderators and stuff. But anyway, we just wait for we chat among ourselves because for a long time there I couldn't talk to you. So apologies if I missed anything because there was just simply too much going on. I hope you understand. Did I miss anything, David, that had to be said in the comments? Because you probably were reading the comments. Moon Hunters. Attention.
Yeah, what's up?
Oh, it does. Is there anything you've seen in the comments that I didn't acknowledge that is important?
Not really, no.
Near shit legs of them. But yeah, no, so there's literally nothing else about to say.
My mind's blank.
Yes. Yeah, I probably missed a lot, David. Like I say, some people asked me stuff and I couldn't see it because it was when I had the poll up, same with that time with Saoirse there. So apologies, Saoirse, about that. Because when I had the poll up, I couldn't see half the chat was gone, so I could only see maybe one or two comments. So that's why I relied on my moderators to tell me what was being said. But yeah. Well, I stay for another few more minutes, but I can release now Moon Hunters. You're finally released from today's experiment.
Thanks.
But tomorrow will be more experiments. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I'm sure everybody here appreciates it too.
I thought they could even hear it.
But there you go. But yeah, no, we do appreciate you being here to keep us company and stuff.
No problem.
So yeah, I let you know tomorrow. It'll probably be tomorrow evening anyway. So I appreciate you coming in here, Moon Hunters. I appreciate it. I let you go and get a bit of sleep now.
I'm just trying to turn on my phone so I can
message the
actually leave. I can't even put in my goddamn password. Just fucking call.
Disgraceful. Anyway, thank you, and I leave you to for tonight.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. See you later. Bye bye. Night.
Long
Sorry. So there we go. We stay here for another few more minutes. And I do want to just thank Davey again for being here. Appreciate it. And for writing up all the stuff. You don't have to do it all tonight. Just make sure to get everything you can in. Hopefully we haven't missed anything. I hope we haven't. I hope you were doing it as you go, Dave, because if we're doing this and we wind, it's going to be an awful lot of stuff. But I hope you kind of took at least a few notes if you're doing it. But you can have it by tomorrow. If you have it by tomorrow even, that'd be plenty. But yeah, no, just so we have the notes, because we won't have it for tonight, just to say. So we won't kind of inform. We will leave them when we have the rules up. When we put the rules up to come into effect, I said about after the live stream. But basically, we'll come into effect after the rules go up tomorrow, hopefully. How does that sound? So basically, it's still the old constitution technically for the moment. But technically, it's coming in. I'm calling Drew Harris, excuse me. Yeah, but this is a better quality one and stuff. So it is the better quality one. Like, look at that. Like, it is steel and stuff. Like, it is a bit bigger, but not by much now. Like, look, this isn't much of the difference. So, but you should see the one Sean sent me. Like, Sean, like, you want to see the one Sean sent me because he sent me a flag along with this. Like, he sent me this yoke. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. I probably won't see it with the light. Let me just turn it off. See, can you see stuff? You just see the fucking orb of light. There we go. What am I looking for here now? Sorry, give me 2 seconds. What am I looking for? Oh, the flag, yeah. That's right. I mean, look at the fucking size of this. You could fucking... Like, look at that. Like, look at this. This is a flag, power flag. Like, my God. Like, where do you want me to put this? What's those movements, man? Trying to kill us. But yeah, I'll turn this off for the moment. Give us. Just I just take this out because the plug does get hot. This plug here gets hot. So there we go. But you better make yourself up to Monaghan now, Sean. Sometime soon. You better get up to Monaghan. I expect to see you up in Monaghan at some point. Hello, Owen. How are we keeping? Flag on your door. You know, it's 10 times bigger than the door. I wouldn't get the door open. Like, it is massive. Like, it's huge. But the Irish flag's basically everywhere. Like, look, the Irish flag's up there. There's one above me. You never see that one, but it's actually above Santa Marin now. So it's more important than Santa Marin. Imagine that. Then there's one on the other side. Oh, you can't see it. You can't see it from that angle, but it's the one on the other side. But there's one there. There's actually one behind me too. There's one here. There's one there. There's one over here. There's one there. There's another one here. There's another one over here. So if there's any more Irish flags, then I don't know what to do with them. Because I have nowhere literally to put them. But yeah, we have like there's a lot of events, just to say, in September. Now there's not a specific day for stuff yet, but in September there's a load of events up in Monaghan. I will be at it. There's a good lot of stuff, so I will be at all the events, pretty much all the events in Monaghan in the next few weeks. I will let you know more closely to the time. It's a bit too soon to be saying it now. But yeah, so there'll be a lot of events, but there'll probably be one meet up there at some point. Because I'm looking for one thing. Like, there's a few things on different days, you know. Oh, we can't play that. It's copyright again, so unfortunately we can't. I'd love to play it, but we can't. Not allowed to play it, unfortunately. That's the thing. YouTube won't let me. Give me 2 seconds. But yes, anything else? But we'll be back tomorrow night. Like this was just basically a stream to do the rules. It'll still be called the Carbon In tomorrow because we'll still be doing probably a few things before we start the rules. But pretty much tomorrow would be pretty much bog standard stuff, unless there's a few amendments. Because pretty much it's pretty much just reintroducing the legislation. That's pretty much all it is. So yeah, we're 3 hours live. This is the longest live stream in years, just to say. I knew it was good. This is not even fucking 20% of it, just to say. We have another about how much is another 70% to go. So you'll be like, he's literally be sick of it by the end of it. But yeah, so that's democracy. People voted. Everybody voted on it. And I think that's fair. It's fair for everybody that everybody voted. And everybody had their say and stuff. Unfortunately, won't be able to make it. That's this Saturday. I don't know next Saturday, isn't it? No, that's which. No, what? Oh, this Sunday's iPod. No, I won't be able to go up to Ashbourne. But yeah. Not. Excuse me. Oh no, I probably. Hopefully someday I come across her again. Hopefully, I hope so. He's a great person, so I hope I do because it was a great moment. It was a really great moment. I don't think you know how much it meant to me and stuff. It was a great moment. It really was. Expedition treaty with grandma. No, I don't have any treaties. We have no treaties. With my tea, well, fucking might well for some, isn't it, Shisha? But anyway, no, enjoy your tea, yeah. But no, I do apologize to you and Shisha and Fiona. We probably should have done it more to do something sooner, but it would have had to go through all this anyway, basically. But it should have been done a few months ago, at least. It should have been done at least 2 months ago, I know. But we always hope that it's larger group affair that we wouldn't have to enforce things. Because see, beforehand it was just all about kind of engaging with people and trying to get people to be fair and reasonable. But unfortunately, that's gone out the window, and that's the sad thing to say it has. But we always will try and be fair with people. That's what we'll try and do. But anyway, that's all she wrote for tonight. 3 hours long. We should be back tomorrow. We have to vote on some more of the stuff. So there could be 70 votes by the end of it. There could be 100 votes by the end of it. So yeah, I say it could be literally 40 votes we took tonight. So just to say, in the space of 3 hours, like quite literally, I never had a break. I just kept going. So yeah, thanks everyone. Appreciate it. I know it's a long live stream. I do appreciate people sticking with me. It's been a lot. So yeah, that's it done. So as I say, Martin Choo Choo, I think everybody's happy with that he is banned from the channel. So yeah, that's it. Thanks everyone. Enjoy the Westian night. And again, thanks to the moderators, Moon Hunters, and of course Davey for being here. Appreciate it as always, and for doing all that too, especially Davey too, all the write-up. It's a lot of write-up we had to do. So I appreciate David. Thank you. So yeah, thank you everyone. Enjoy the Westian night and goodbye.